Black technology, building a lightsaber starting from a graduation project. Hello again, dear adventurers of the multiverse. Thanks for joining us once more on this epic journey. Remember, this story is pure science fiction from our wild imagination, so don't go trying to summon dragons in your backyard. The rights of this amazing novel belong entirely to its original author. We are only the narrators. Do you want more adventures? Show some love to our YouTube channel with a subscription and a like, and if you want exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting for you with open arms. Chapter 101: A New Generation of Mobile Firebase. Different from the previous second part of the experiment, the specific process of the third part of the experiment is, start the tokamak device, first introduce a part of the voltage into the device, and then activate all the blaster starter modules. When the experimental state has stabilized, the voltage is finally restored to normal. If there is no problem within 5 minutes of stabilization, the simple energy is successful. As for why Xu Teng didn't dare to raise the voltage to normal in the first place, that's because the blaster gun activation module is really too buggy. With the addition of the coil, the ion current can be accelerated in an instant. Otherwise, during the second part of the experiment, the temperature instrument and the plasma current volt-second instrument would not be like drinking fake wine. More importantly, there are still more than 100 pieces in total. Each piece is placed in a calculated position. From the theoretical calculation data, the plasma current is accelerating from the moment it enters the device. If he presses the full voltage at the beginning, Xu Teng is really afraid that the magic modified tokamak will die immediately before he can press the button. Senior brother Xu, then I'll start now, Teng Heibo, who was standing in the distance, said loudly. With Xu Teng's nod, Teng Heibo pressed the white button beside him. Buzzing, the sound at the scene quieted down, and only half the current started to enter the device. Blah blah blah. The blue lights above the coils began to light up one by one, which is the activation of the starter module. The difference from the second part of the experiment is that as the starter module is activated piece by piece, a tiny blue electric current begins to appear and wraps around the starter module. The situation in front of him was beyond Teng Heibo's knowledge. Why does the starter module also start to conduct electricity, and it is still blue light? Subconsciously, Teng Heibo thought of the blaster gun project he had joined in the past 2 months. The faint blue light of the smallest energy scale could smash the test board. If this blue light doesn't hurt people, does it? Yun Sheng, who was standing not far away, also frowned. He was not worried about the failure of the device, but about the materials for nuclear fusion. Although the raw materials, uranium, plutonium-239, deuterium and tritium, the extraction of so a little difficult, but it doesn't matter. That's not to say there isn't. Instead, he was worried about the safety of junior brother Xu in front of him. True genius is really hard to cultivate. For a talent like junior brother Xu, he has never seen a second person in his life. Would you like to remind junior brother Xu? Just when Yun Sheng was preparing to act, he suddenly remembered, Su Wei once told him one thing, that is, in the laboratory, no matter what abnormal situation occurs, as long as Xiaosu doesn't move, everything will be done. Intend what you think of as potential danger is actually not considered a danger at all because of everything. Xiaosu will take safety measures. The experiment may fail, but you can always trust Xiaosu to spare. With the last sound, all boot modules are activated. Silver white apertures and bright colored apertures complement each other. Charming and dangerous. The surrounding instruments began to spin like crazy. The peaks of the temperature instrument and the volt-second instrument of the plasma current keep pulling up. This is beyond the requirements of ordinary nuclear fusion. Teng Heibo and Yun Sheng both widened their eyes and opened their mouths. Although one is an assistant, the other is an apprentice of a mediocre academic scholar, but the two will also use software to query relevant information. Fuck, so fierce, as expected of my senior brother. Fuck, so strong, as expected of my junior brother. The two who spoke in unison burst into foul language, looked at each other, and silently turned to look at the experimental situation. The blue light has been flowing continuously around the ring device at this point. If you look closely, you will find that black spots begin to appear in the silver-white circle wall, but in the next second, it will be cleared in an instant. The pressure between the inner walls is still maintained in a state of equilibrium. Note that the experiment is still planned 1 second, 10 seconds, 30 seconds. The expressions of the two are somewhat nervous, because this is nuclear fusion. Just this small piece contains a huge amount of energy and the startup module has been accelerating. Going to the amusement park on a roller coaster is not so exciting. The only reason for them to be patient and not speak up, still, it's because Xu Teng didn't issue the next instructions. As long as senior brother Xu did not speak, It proved that everything in the experiment was guaranteed. Just when Tang Heibo thought so, Xu Teng suddenly said, "Junior brother Tang, go and press the black button to restore the voltage to the level of the first experiment." "Okay," Tang Heibo said something subconsciously. Then the brain was instructed to return to the level of the first experiment. What does this mean? Means, the voltage of this experiment is only halved. As an assistant, Tang Heibo did not know the complete process of the third part of the experiment. All he knew was that what happened at the scene seemed a bit terrifying, but the voltage is not enough. If it was someone else, Tang Heibo would somewhat resist, but in front of me is senior brother Xu. You can always trust senior brother Xu is not a slogan, but a phrase that all researchers who work with Xu Teng will recognize in their hearts. The surrounding Yuncheng was stunned. Doubling the voltage is the strength of the final experiment. I ride a horse. If this piece of energy is really made, how strong is the ion energy shield? If other technologies are okay. The output of the fifth energy scale of the blaster gun seems to be completely blocked in front of it. It's really just like what the intro says. Individual shields, good for raids, decapitations, soldier shield. Sorry, Yuncheng really have no knowledge no matter how you look at it. This shield is afraid that even small missiles can be blocked as soon as the shield is opened. The firepower is completely free. If you take another blaster, there is an inactive lightsaber hanging around your waist. Solo action. I'm sorry, I'm the battlefield killer, a new generation of mobile firepower. Thinking of this, Yuncheng's eyes lit up. This experiment must be successful. Tang Heibo gritted his teeth and pressed the black button with a voltage input. Doubled boom. In the eyes of the three of them, the blue light of the startup module is no longer just around the ring. The shape began to thicken, spreading out little by little, like a snake, twisting wildly. The surrounding metal objects began to be blasted. Chapter 102 failed, not completely failed. Dean, it won't be a problem, I'm a little worried. Yuncheng turned his head to look at Tang Heibo's green face, and muttered in his heart, what is this little bit? It's obviously a million dots, but if you ask me, I do not know either. But he said, what are you doing? Look. Xiao Su, he didn't say anything. What danger could there be? If you don't stutter with me when you talk, I'm sure you're not nervous at all. Dean Pen Fun Library beating blue glow and captivating, but when I think of the high temperature of nuclear fusion, I instantly feel that it is too dangerous under this charming halo. In the theoretical calculation, the startup module will generate a magnetization reaction because it is too close to the live coil of the tokamak device. In layman's terms, as the experiment progresses, the external starter module device will also be powered on. The weak current will increase with the output current, and then the current situation will appear unlike the other two. Xu Teng is very stable because there will be backhands under the badge integration. The automatic paralysis device was also modified by magic with it, out of control, non-existent in the blaster gun project. At the scene of the fifth energy scale, the barrel of the gun was rotten like that, and finally it fired energy at the established target. 30 seconds, 1 minute, the plasma current at full power runs like a wild horse running wild in the vacuum tube. No matter how hard you try, you can't break the device. The faces of the two people around began to soften. Judging from the situation at the scene, except for the blue light outside, it was a little dazzling. Overall, it doesn't seem to be any different. Looking at each other, they both saw the trust in Xu Teng in their eyes. After hesitating for a while, Yuncheng walked up to Xu Teng and asked softly, Junior brother Xu, how long will this experiment take? In ordinary nuclear fusion experiments, the duration is calculated in seconds. Even if there is a record, the best record is 1000 seconds in the Dragon Kingdom, which is about 16 minutes. But it was a large-scale equipment experiment, and it was also an ordinary nuclear fusion experiment. Xu Teng is a magical change. The more than 100 pieces of starter module are added on the coil, and it looks very impactful. The second part of the experiment, in fact, surpassed the ordinary nuclear fusion. And now for the third part, Yuncheng calculated a little in his heart. An experiment of this level, more than a minute, would definitely be the limit. Who knows? 5 minutes of operation, just over 1 minute and 30 seconds, 5 minutes. Yuncheng was a little dazed. The next second 5 minutes, even if he is the apprentice of the applied mathematics scholar. He knows what these 5 minutes mean if successful. Today is a miracle to witness the birth of new energy. Buzzing. This is the sound of an excessive voltage load. Bang bang bang. This is the sound of surrounding metal objects starting to explode under the influence of electrostatic force. 3 minutes. The blue electric snake began to extend outward, and blue particles began to appear in the air, which were uncharged particles that began to be affected by ionization. Tang Heibo raised his hand curiously and touched it. Clap clap clap. The blue particles exploded directly in his hand, and a trace of black lines appeared in his palm pane. This is his first feeling. The second feeling is this horse riding something that provides energy to the shield, brother? Are you sure you really didn't lie to me? This ionization ability, but the uncharged particles in the air can be assimilated. If you want to use it directly as a small attack bomb, I can do it once the energy in it is broken. I am afraid that the surrounding area will be turned into ashes. Yunsheng was also stunned. Sure enough, my mother was right. The more charming, the more dangerous ionization phenomenon. Xu Teng began to frown secretly, which was something he didn't expect. The energy growth rate is too fast at this time. Tang Heibo stepped forward and leaned over. Brother Xu, do you want to stop the experiment? Looking at the instrument that is frantically recording data, Xu Teng shook his head. No, continue. The time has not yet come. Okay, time passed little by little, except for Xu Teng. The other two felt that time passed very slowly. Obviously it is measured in seconds. Why? Usually when men and women exercise together, time goes so fast, 4 minutes and 50 seconds. At this time, the surrounding air began to show a blue current phenomenon, and some instrument panels that recorded data began to explode. Pieces of glass shards flew everywhere. What surprised Yunsheng and Tang Heibo the most was not this. Yes, no matter how messy the surroundings, no matter what the blue current water surge, the modified tokamak device is still strong. After all, that's right, it hasn't broken until now. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they all thought Xu Teng was a magician who added a buff to the device. 55 seconds. The two looked at each other and saw joy in each other's eyes. It's going to be a success soon. But Xu Teng, who had been staring at the instrument data, frowned because the temperature is starting to plummet at this moment, like a waterfall cascading down 1,000 miles. Something's wrong. The device is still running. The voltage has not dropped. Everything looks normal from the outside. The temperature should remain stable, or rise slightly. If it falls, it means that the experiment has started to spiral out of control. Just came up with this idea. All the blue light from the activation module is concentrated in one point for a split second, like a black hole absorbing light. Oops, junior brother Xu, brother, run, there is danger. Tang Heibo and Yunsheng reacted instantly. Even if all the experimental devices in the entire laboratory exploded, only Xu Teng could not be injured because this is the leader of the younger generation of Longuo scientific research. The two set off instantly and came to Xu Teng's side, wanting to carry him away directly, but Xu Teng still had a calm expression on his face, and in turn comforted them. Don't worry about me, it's fine, fine. The two who turned their heads saw the most surprising scene in their lives. The blue light is concentrated at one point. The moment when the energy is about to be released, boom, a ray of red light shot out from a point on the tail of the magic modified device, and then all the blue light was clasped up like a bowl. Bang bang bang, clap clap clap. The energy-intensive explosions continued, but they could never break through the red bowl wall. Tang Heibo and Yunsheng stared at this scene dumbfounded. Fuck, what is this? This Nima is too powerful. Then the two reacted. Junior brother Xu, one link is broken. Is the experiment under control? Xu Teng sighed, judging from the situation at the scene. The experiment failed, but it didn't fail completely. Meeting the suspicious gazes of the two, Xu Teng explained, this is the automatic paralysis device of the blaster gun project. After the magic modification, I will use it for the nuclear fusion project. After all, it is an experiment in school. Don't worry, it is not absolutely safe for me. It won't start. Chapter 103. Geniuses do whatever they want. So, the experiment is really under the control of junior brother Xu. Brother, in the last few seconds, the blue light was about to explode, but it was handled by Xu Teng. It's really safe to do experiments with these geniuses. The two looked at each other. I just saw Xu Teng's frown. Yunsheng and Tang Heibo, who were standing beside them, had complicated expressions on their faces from the situation on site. Xu Teng was successful in terms of the nuclear fusion project alone because he modified the tokamak device. The second part of the experiment has already met the requirements of ordinary nuclear fusion, but judging from Xu Teng's original experiment request, this time the experiment failed. Although it only failed in the last few seconds. Hey, Xu Teng sighed again and said, Junior brother Tang, please sort out the situation at the scene. There are broken glass slag everywhere. Be careful not to get your hands on it. The experimental data just now have been saved. I still need to analyze the real-time data to see where the final problem is. When Tang Heibo heard Xu Teng say this, he said quickly, Senior brother Xu, what are you doing politely with me? I can't help you with the data. But don't worry, I will definitely clean up the hygiene. He looked up at the watch on the surrounding wall, and said, "I'll wait for the senior brother to order food." What does the senior brother want to eat? Meal. Look at the time at 11:50. Is it that fast? Just the saucepan duck and fried chicken legs, and a green bean porridge. Hey, so good. Tang Heibo's voice is quite dog-legged. On the other hand, Yun Sheng also said, "Then I won't bother the junior and junior to continue analyzing the data. I still have some information to report to the teacher. Brother, you have worked hard, not hard, not hard." Yun Sheng, who had just walked out of the laboratory, couldn't wait to pull out his mobile phone to call Su Wei Doodle. As soon as the bell rang, the call was connected. "Come on, tell me, how is the experiment going?" Su Wei hurriedly asked. In fact, from the moment Yun Sheng reported the situation of the experiment to himself, he became curious. This is a nuclear fusion project, in Li Rongsheng's mouth. Who can completely solve this problem in the future? The country's scientific and technological status in the energy sector will be significantly improved. Rich raw materials. Great power. If he hadn't known that Xiaosu was experimenting, he wouldn't have been able to resist making a phone call. "Teacher. Su. Junior brother, it was a success." It was only a short sentence, but Yun Sheng took a lot of effort to finish it. "Did it work? Really? Successful? What's the matter? You? Hurry up, make it clear to me." In fact, in the second half of the third part of the experiment, Yun Sheng learned everything from the communication with Tang Heibo. The second part of the experiment is equal to the experiment of ordinary nuclear fusion. The third part of the experiment is to completely open up new energy. So, Yun Sheng will say that the nuclear fusion experiment has been successful. When Yun Sheng told Su Wei everything he knew, he heard the sound of inhalation over there continued to increase. "I originally thought that Xiaosu just wanted to conduct ordinary nuclear fusion experiments. Result, is Xiaosu working on the energy of the new generation? And, this morning, the ordinary nuclear fusion experiment problem has been solved in one morning?" Exclamation mark. "Li Rongshen, you also said that your group of scientific researchers are not doing scientific research while herding cattle. It's not that I don't believe you, but your progress makes me really hard to believe. Xiaosu's assistant is just a student who has just entered the graduate school, and you, but a group of genuine high-end scientific research talents. No, I can't help it. This kind of good news must not be hidden and tucked away, and it must be shared with their group of people." Cough cough. "Yun Shen, you did a good job. Teacher is tired now and needs a good rest." Yun Shen, who had just finished talking about the situation, was stunned. "What are you talking about? My teacher, it's not you who did the experiment." "Oh yes. You are still an academician of applied mathematics. What kind of tired method you are." Just when Yun Sheng was about to say something to tell the teacher to pay attention to his body, the phone hangs up at the speed of light. Yun Sheng, he suddenly seemed to understand something. It seemed that the teacher was not tired, but eager to share the joy with someone. "If you think about it, I seem to be a cloud tool person." Woo-hoo-woo. Just as Su Wei hung up the phone at the moment of disconnection, he immediately opened the address book and found Li Rongsheng's phone number. Beep. Within a second, the call was connected. This was Li Rongsheng's fastest call ever, because he knew that today was Xiaosu's experiment. Although nuclear fusion is a problem of world nature, he also popularized it with this mediocre academician of applied mathematics last night. "But in my heart, I still look forward to hearing about the breakthrough progress in Xiaosu's experiment." As a result, before he could speak, he heard Su Wei's triumphant voice. "Li Rongshen, you also said that your scientific researchers are not doing scientific research while herding cattle." "Li Rongshen, what are you talking about? Although the two of us often fight, but you tell me this as soon as you come up. Isn't it too provocative?" Just when Li Rongsheng was about to fight back, Su Wei predicted his prediction. "I told you, don't try to talk back. My student, Xu Teng, has officially solved the problem of nuclear fusion today." "Solved? Gan, this doesn't seem to be able to speak up, but, is what you're saying true?" Don't talk. I know you want to ask me if it's true. I'll show you a few pictures." Su Wei once again interrupted Li Rongsheng's forward swing casting. When Yun Sheng entered the laboratory, Xu Teng had already started the second phase of experiments, so from that moment on, all the experiments were photographed by him. Swish swish, a picture is sent over internal temperature gauge, plasma current volt stopwatch, the overall video of the second part of the experiment, and the blue light of the blaster gun activation module of the third part of the experiment, and the ionization phenomenon that occurred in the final air, even in the last few seconds. The blue light got out of control and gathered together and was immediately buckled by the red bowl. What is this? Li Rongsheng was stunned. It's not that he doesn't know the tokamak device, but the device in the video doesn't seem to be a simple device. It appears to have undergone some changes, and that blue light is so familiar. Like, where have you seen it? And many more. Blue blaster. Li Rongsheng was stunned. Did Xiao Su combine the two projects? Is this genius? Do whatever you want. Chapter 104. He seems a little proud. Li Rongsheng pondered. The blaster gun is a weapon development project, and nuclear fusion is a purely physical project. How does this come together? To figure this out, zoom in a little bit on the incoming picture from the outside. There is a silver-white ring, which is an ordinary tokamak device. To say a little more, it's the blue device that wraps around the exterior. What is this? After zooming in again, seeing the narrow spaces, Li Rongsheng suddenly understood the schematic diagram. He has seen it. Even if I return to my project later, I would take out the drawings from time to time and look at it together with a notebook printed by Xiao Su to talk about the entire narrow space of the blaster. There is only the starter module. If I remember correctly, it was after the volatile explosive gas was ignited, which accelerated the flow of particles. So, can this riding horse also be combined? Having figured this out, Li Rongsheng's eyes stared like copper bells. There are at least hundreds of small parts in the blaster gun, which is why they have not fully digested the technology. Among the hundreds of parts, can you find a magic modification to the tokamak device? Li Rongsheng took a deep breath. This is the creative thinking of young people. Too scary. No, not right. The activation module can indeed accelerate the particle flow, because it is fixed in the blaster, and the particle flow comes through the established channel. Who can't accelerate in a straight line, but, on the tokamak device related to nuclear fusion, the energy coils are disordered, or the direction is changing all the time. When the formed helical magnetic field passes through the startup module, it will have a direction. If the directions are the same, the kinetic energy will be superimposed. If the direction is opposite, the kinetic energy will be weakened. This means, all startup modules must be placed in designated positions, otherwise the plasma in them will not be heated to a certain temperature at all. Even, the temperature will keep getting lower and lower. Yes, the second part of the experiment is perfect. After being stunned for a while, Li Rongsheng said tremblingly, no way, click on it to watch. Just as he guessed, every startup module, if you look carefully, you will see it. Their locations are different. Therefore, this is the position where more than 100 startup modules are all placed in the design and Huaking Research Lab does not have supercomputers to process the data. If this calculation is made, Xiao Su can calculate it all by himself. It's numb. Li Rongsheng is really numb. Not to mention the third part of the experiment, the air was ionized. Those active blue molecules, at least from beginning to end, were firmly in Xu Teng's hands. Hey, why don't you talk? Aren't you usually very good? No, you were very good last night, and you gave me to popularize the knowledge of nuclear fusion. Why don't you dare to say a word now? Why, did you get hit? Right at this moment, Li Rongsheng said leisurely, I think you are right. Those of us who do scientific research seem to be. Indeed, we are doing scientific research while herding cattle. Su Wei was stunned for a while, then laughed. Cool. If you say I'm just an ordinary applied mathematics researcher, what about you? Not a researcher who can only herd cattle. Ba in the Bahinia cafeteria, Tang Heibo, who has cleaned up well, is lining up at the window at this point. The people around started talking to each other. Hey, let me tell you, the school voltage seems to be a little strange today. Indeed, when we were in physics class, the light bulb blew right off. What is this? Let me tell you, didn't I send materials to a laboratory some time ago? When I went there today, I saw that all the lamps nearby were hundreds of meters away from the laboratory. Blacken. It's black. Does this mean it's all blown up? Yes. I find it strange that even if the school has a large voltage load, there will be no electricity shortage, unless what? You hurry up and dawdle again, it will make your butt hurt. The threatened man was stunned, his butt tightened, as if thinking of something terrible. He said quickly, unless the school labs are doing experiments that use a lot of electricity, like nuclear fusion or something. Tang Heibo, who had been eavesdropping in front of the queue, tensed inwardly, and his body stiffened. Cut, it's nuclear fusion, don't tease me when you ride a horse. How can you carry the electricity here, even if it's a small one? One person also retorted, that is, small nuclear fusion is impossible, unless there is a magical modification device. Cut, you can also change the tokamak device. Why don't you fly to the sky side by side with the sun? If you could do it, the nuclear fusion project would have been successful long ago, so a wrong answer can be ruled out. Someone used the magic modified device to do small nuclear fusion at school. Hearing this, Tang Heibo, who was originally stiff, instantly relaxed, and even almost laughed. Misunderstanding cleared. Now it was Tang Heibo's turn to cook. Ant comes with a plate of duck with sauce, roasted chicken legs, and a green bean porridge. The green bean porridge needs to be sweetened. Good. The men behind started to discuss again. There's a strange phenomenon today. The physics curriculum has all returned to its original state. That's right, even the Xu Shen who tortured all physics majors didn't come. Hey, it's a pity. I also heard that he didn't go to class. I also hope that he can abuse those scholars more. Me too. The key is to hear that Xu Shen is very handsome. At this time, another man pondered and said, Xu Shen didn't come to class today, so there was a problem with the school's voltage. Do you think there is a possibility? Possibility. The other two looked at each other and understood. You mean Xu Shen, after completing the basic courses of all majors in physics, he will magically modify the device at the school, and then conduct a small nuclear fusion experiment. Another person continued. So the voltage instability in the school has something to do with him? Yes. That's it. He was very happy to see the two on the road. Yes, you big bastard. Don't be funny. A month basic course is a small-scale nuclear fusion experiment with a magic modification device. What are you talking about? First, it's impossible, and second, it's definitely a wrong answer. Yes, this is a plot that even TV dramas dare not broadcast. At this point, Ant prepared the meal and gave it to Tang Heibo. Classmate, what do you want? Hey, so good. Turning around, Tang Heibo raised his chest, looked at the three people in the back row with a proud look, and stepped out the other three. Do you think this little fat man was a little proud just now? That's right. It's like he did a small nuclear fusion experiment with a magic modification device in the school. Yes, dream. Chapter 105. You can always trust senior brother Xu. Along the way, Tang Heibo walked back to the laboratory with a smile. Of course he heard what the boys discussed just now. Magic modification device, research on small-scale nuclear fusion. I really did not do it. But I participated in the project, as a graduate student. Isn't this an honor? Drop drop drop. After the fingerprint was unlocked, the door of the laboratory slammed open. Tang Heibo shouted to the inside, Senior brother, the meal is called back for you. It's time to eat. Okay, the hot and fragrant saucepan duck, the fried chicken legs that are golden, crispy and oily, are accompanied by a few red peppers for decoration. Xu Teng mixes the rice balls on the golden chicken thighs, bites down, and his mouth is full of fragrance, and stirs the saucepan duck together. The hunger in the belly was completely dissipated, and all that was left was satisfaction. If you really talk about hobbies, Xu Teng has two. One is food and the other is scientific research. After eating, he drank the mung bean porridge on the principle of not wasting it, and turned to Tang Heibo and said, Trouble, junior brother brought rice. Tang Heibo, who was packing his things, immediately said sternly, Senior brother Xu, what are you talking about? It's not troublesome at all. But, has senior brother analyzed the reason now? When Tang Heibo joined the Xu Teng project team again, he secretly made up his mind to learn a little more this time anyway. New technology can change people's lives. Although he will definitely not become a person like senior brother Xu in his life, as long as he can always have the opportunity to join senior brother Xu's team, it will be a worthwhile thing for him because I have participated in those scientific research projects that can change the future, which is also a very handsome thing. In the whole project, Tang Heibo was positioned as an assistant. If it was in other scientific research projects, the identity of Yanai as an assistant would not be taken seriously. Whether you can learn something or not depends on your own luck. Even if you ask a question, others may not answer you seriously, but brother Xu is different. He has always been a selfless person. As long as you are willing to learn, he will never hide his secrets. Hearing Tang Heibo's words, Xu Teng was stunned. A previous project of the blaster gun. Hello brother, not so enthusiastic. Want to learn more? The corners of Xu Teng's mouth raised. The reason is indeed analyzed. When he heard this sentence, Tang Heibo was shocked. Holy crap, so fast. Brother, this efficiency is good. I obviously just went to work on a meal, and it took less than half an hour. Just when he was about to ask, Xu Teng said, Don't talk, I'll test you, quiz me, study. This is the test of senior brother. The opportunity to gain favorability in front of senior brother is not right. We must seize it. Tang Heibo tidied up his clothes and said solemnly, Senior brother, please speak. I'm just asking a question. It doesn't need to be so serious. In the whole experiment, where do you think there are some problems? Problem appear? Tang Heibo fell into the memories of the whole experiment. In the first part of the experiment, the startup module is not activated. The only abnormal situation is that it consumes too much electricity. Voltage does not count as a problem for the overall experiment. The second part of the experiment was to activate half of the startup module. After the whole experiment, what was wrong was probably the small black dots appearing in the silver-white circle at the time. He was startled. After all, this was an experiment of nuclear fusion. A small mistake can lead to unexpected results. In the end, finally, senior brother Xu pressed a switch and the black spot was eliminated, so it could not be counted. That can only be the third part of the experiment. All startup modules are activated, the voltage is first halved, and finally raised to the normal voltage. There's nothing wrong with the previous ones, until the blue light appeared. The surrounding air was even ionized, and the blue particles exploded in the palm of the hand. Thinking of this, his eyes lit up. Senior brother, I seem to have guessed the reason. Oh, tell me. As soon as he finished speaking, Tang Heibo rushed to answer, ionization phenomenon. After speaking, he looked at Xu Teng expectantly, like a student hoping for a positive answer from the teacher. Yes, it is the phenomenon of ionization. After receiving Xu Teng's affirmation, Tang Heibo smiled happily. The specific reason, do you know? Everything came too suddenly. The smile froze on Tang Heibo's face. He shook his head and said in his heart, hey, you really shouldn't be too excited. You should be humble like senior brother Xu. I saw Xu Teng get up, pull out a small blackboard, pick up chalk and draw a magic modified tokamak on it. The third part of the failure, in rough terms, electromagnetization, which in turn causes air ionization. The tokamak essentially relies on electrically charged coils to create a huge helical magnetic field inside, and the purpose of this is to heat the plasma to very high temperature. But Xu Teng circled the starter module device around the coil and asked, what is the purpose of this one device? I understand this, Tang Heibo immediately replied. The narrow space is to accelerate the plasma in the vacuum tube faster. Yes, from one perspective, it is to increase the kinetic energy of the plasma. Having said this, Tang Heibo thought of the pile of white paper on the table. In order to increase the kinetic energy of each plasma passing through the activation module, senior brother Xu calculated it entirely by hand. If it's just one starter module, it won't be a big problem if it's too close to the live coil. But if all the more than 100 starter modules are activated, and they're so close to the live coil, this sentence reminded Tang Heibo because, to activate the starter module, he pressed the button himself. He knew that those blue lights were phosphors that showed color when powered on. So, Tang Heibo murmured, as the voltage starts to increase, there are more active modules, and they attract each other with a weak current. The blue light gets thicker. Gradually ionization also occurs in the air. It turned out to be such a thing. Tang Heibo understood. His eyes lit up instantly. Again, brother is really arrogant. Really, no matter what the process of the experiment is, even if the result is not good, you can always trust senior brother Xu. Looking up, Tang Heibo's eyes were filled with excitement. Senior brother, I understand. Shall we start now? Chapter 106. The road to all-round scientific research goes further and further. This look. Xu Teng was stunned, and then the corners of his mouth couldn't stop raising. Interesting. After all, it is Xu Teng. I have dealt with many researchers along the way, and I rarely see such excited eyes. The most impressive one is, in the sprint stage of the blaster gun project, together with Long Dongsheng in the laboratory for the final blast time. It was the first time he saw such a look in the eyes of others. Well, let's start now. For Xu Teng, doing scientific research is his hobby. Tired, non-existent. There are many kinds of hobbies for men: raising paper wives, sprinting against unknown pictures, and, in the future, it will be possible to drive up to Gundam. In other words, no man can refuse Gundam. Just like everyone wanted to be a light when they were young, Tang Heibo skillfully ran aside to prepare new materials. Although he is an assistant with dreams, he is not strong enough now, so he can only focus on fighting when new problems are encountered in scientific research. The general process is as follows. Analyze the experimental process to find the reason for the failure. When the cause is found, further new experiments are designed to solve this problem. Now the reason has been found. The starter modules are too close to each other to the coil, which in turn can cause air ionization. The reason why Xu Teng had to run the third part of the experiment perfectly was to get powerful energy with it. The ionic energy shield will last longer on the battlefield. Every second counts. Behind every second will represent a fresh life. So, the voltage intensity cannot be changed. It is still the input of half the intensity, and then returns to the original state. The startup module cannot be reduced either. Each piece is for the acceleration of the plasma, and if any piece is missing, The predetermined speed cannot be achieved. The distance between the starter module and the coil is also fixed, because every position of the starter module is calculated and the angle is specific as long as you move it a little. When the plasma passes through the narrow space, it will not increase the kinetic energy, but reduce the kinetic energy. Just like this, Xu Teng found that many things are all about maintaining the status quo. So, how should this be done? Xu Teng fell into deep thought. Senior brother, the materials are all ready. After being silent for a while, Xu Teng replied, well, good, brother, what happened? Isn't the reason already found? Turning to look at Xu Teng, he found that he was looking up at the ceiling above in a daze. What, the lights are a little brighter, which has a bad effect on my brother's eyesight. Tang Heibo walked over and pressed the switch to dim the light a little. Xu Teng raised his head and covered his eyes with his hands. Why has the brightness of the lights changed? When he said this sentence, Xu Teng's eyes lit up, and he repeated, the light. In an instant, he turned his head to look at Tang Heibo with a burning gaze. The trough. Panfun Library. Senior brother. What's the matter with you? Don't look at me like this. I'm a little scared. Who knows? Xu Teng smiled and said, Junior brother, you really helped a lot. Busy. What did I just do? I was under the impression that I just turned off the lights. Is this okay? Through the previous analysis, the reason for Xu Teng's distress is that neither the magic modified tokamak device nor the above startup module can be changed. That's right. It's the kind that doesn't even move a little bit. The change in the brightness of the overhead lights just now made him notice the lights. As we all know, incandescent lamps will have inert gases inside. The purpose is to provide protection if the gas filled in the incandescent lamp is ordinary air. The tungsten wire is easy to burst under long-term light. The change in brightness at that moment made Xu Teng think of the protective gas in incandescent lamps. Inert gases are chemically stable and difficult to carry out chemical reactions. It turns out that nothing can be changed, which means that ordinary air will definitely be ionized. In the third part of the experiment, what if the surroundings were all inert gas, even an energized coil, even if there is a starter module in? It seems to solve this problem completely because, in the project of the blaster gun, it was not only because of the addition of inert gas that it was successful. Tang Heibo struggled beside him for a long time, and finally asked what he had always wanted to say. Senior brother, I want to ask, what did you think of just now? Oh, inert gas. Seeing Tang Heibo's confused look, Xu Teng explained it patiently. Turn out to be this way. After listening, Tang Heibo's eyes also lit up, and he also sighed in his heart. Senior brother is really too strong. If it wasn't for him to explain it to me, I would never have thought of it. From beginning to end, I cleaned up the materials and turned off the lights. The experimental solution is out. It turns out that scientific research has always been difficult, but the senior brother is too awesome for other researchers. Even if they knew the solution, they had to get a sealed space on top of the modified tokamak to install it. The whole process is not an easy thing, but those are for other researchers. Xu Teng. But the person who made the blaster gun and lightsaber with his own hands, as we all know, if a researcher is not a craftsman, it is not a good researcher. Then, in the next time, Tang Heibo was dumbfounded as he watched Xu Teng draw the device in the confined space, and calculated the various dimensions perfectly. Then, grinding, welding, installing, the whole process is completely smooth and beautiful. There is no waste of materials, and no excess materials. A line suddenly appeared in Tang Heibo's mind. Accuracy or not, is the difference between slaughter and surgery. Even if senior brother Xu stopped engaging in scientific research, he could still become a legendary craftsman in the field of craftsmanship. Alright, when Xu Teng wanted to wipe off his sweat, a towel was stretched out. Looking up, I saw Tang Heibo smiling shyly. Although the others can't help senior brother Xu, but in this one, I am a professional. Thank you. I will enter a new experiment in 3 minutes. Good. After wiping off the sweat, Xu Teng put the modified device on the table. He took out a blank paper beside him and did a new round of calculations. This time, he is calculating how much inert gas should be pumped into the device to be the best. Although the inert gas can play a protective role, it cannot be added at will because this will affect the acceleration effect in the narrow space of the launch module. Tang Heibo stood aside and quietly watched the string of complex formulas appearing on the white paper, silently sighed in the bottom of his heart. Being able to calculate, and even to polish and manufacture products in person, senior brother Xu is really going further and further on the road of all-round scientific research. Chapter 107 5-Minute Countdown. The third part of the experiment. There was no problem in the first 4 minutes, but the problem occurred in the last few seconds. In detail, it should be when the temperature began to drop sharply. Xu Teng pulled out the data recorded in real time by the experiment, which is the temperature display inside the device. The previous curve images all rose sharply, but the last few seconds fell like a bungee jump. If memory serves me correctly, the volt-seconds of the plasma current dropped dramatically here as well. As Xu Teng spoke, he pulled out another image of the instrument, with a text on it showing the plasma current in volt-seconds. So, in the last few seconds, the ionization of the air is at its strongest. And the blue light affects the acceleration in the narrow space of the starter module. The plasma in the inner vacuum tube passes through a narrow space. Because of the change of position, the kinetic energy is no longer increased, or even weakened, from the performance of the external instruments. That is, the internal temperature drops and the volt-seconds also drops. That's why Tang Heibo was stunned when he heard it. What the hell is your brother talking about? I can understand every word clearly. I don't understand why they are grouped together, and also, brother is too great. The brightness of an incandescent lamp changed, and the noble gas came out, and then the whole process was reversed through real-time instrument data. Is there really such an experiment? If this incident can become a record in future history books, will the title be like this? Shock. The change in the brightness of incandescent lamps has actually achieved a milestone in new energy. What's the difference between this and an apple falling because of Newton's laws? Xu Teng didn't notice the change in Tang Heibo's expression at all, and still muttered, the internal space also has an automatic paralysis device, so the inert gas does not need to be filled so much, because the internal air pressure is under a certain pressure. The starter module and automatic device have been modified by me, so the inert gas charged in will be evenly distributed under their traction, under the formula for the pressure in the liquid, P equals pGh, again because P equals P, liquid density, GH. When the densities of both are the same, may be given by the formula, 50%. When he got to this point, Xu Teng paused, as if he couldn't believe it. Only 50%. To successfully curb ionization, this ratio was indeed beyond his surprise, because at that time, the ratio of inert gas inside the blaster was far more than 50%. Tang Heibo, who was standing beside him, had already fallen into a situation of numbness. He's starting to understand a word a little bit now. Science is the foundation that enables people's lives to change, and mathematics is the foundation that enables science to change. Just relying on this formula and reasoning, even Huaking's Mathematics College will be hanged by senior brother Su, and many more. Dean Yunsheng seems to have a background in applied mathematics. I heard that his teacher is also an academician of applied mathematics. If senior brother Su goes to the Mathematics Academy, he will definitely go to Dean Yunsheng's course. In this way, the senior is the student of the academician, and the dean is the teacher of the senior when the left and right equations are equal. Hiss. Tang Heibo felt that he had discovered an incredible blind spot. Stop, be bold, don't think anymore, and this time, Xu Teng finally figured out why the calculated result was 50%, because, the magic modified tokamak device, the silver-white inner ring is all vacuum, and the startup module does not enter the internal vacuum environment just outside, with a narrow space and the calculated angle to provide acceleration kinetic energy, and the project of the blaster gun goes directly into the acceleration. There are two situations when it is rubbing against the outside, and it will not enter in the end. I see. Having figured this out, Xu Teng breathed a sigh of relief. The more complex the project, the more difficult it is to let go of every small point, because many aerospace manned spacecraft, just because of a screw that is not tightened as a result, when passing through the atmosphere, the screw broke, resulting in a sharp change in pressure, and finally a direct explosion. Okay, let's start. Xu Teng turned to Tang Heibo and said. The latter raised his head subconsciously and looked at the clock on the wall. 2 minutes and 50 seconds. 3 minutes neither came. What can I say? There's only one sentence. Brother Su, who is walking on the road of all-round scientific research, is amazing and admires him. No, this is the proportion of inert gas to be charged into the device. Remember, 50%, neither more nor less. Tang Heibo's expression tightened, and he solemnly responded, Senior brother, rest assured that you will complete the task. A new round of experiments is being actively prepared. The problem of the experiment was found and a solution was found. Next, repeat the previous experiment. This time, it will definitely work. Xu Teng's eyes lit up with excitement. Only he who has really changed the device knows if the third part of the experiment is really successful. How strong is the energy provided? The second part of the experiment is equivalent to an ordinary nuclear fusion experiment, but in the second part, Only half of the startup modules are turned on. The third part of the experiment is to activate all startup modules. Just a simple double relationship. No, at least twice as much. 5 minutes of continuous experiment, if passed, today, now, it is really creating a new generation of energy, senior brother. Then I pulled the switch. Well, let's get started. Boom. As the switch is pulled down, the starter module begins to be activated gradually. Blah blah blah. More and more blue light began to come on. Buzzing. That's the sound of the plasma starting to accelerate inside the vacuum tube. Internal temperature and current volt-seconds, degrees begin to surge just like drinking fake wine. I started to be in a hurry, compared with before. Tang Heibo's mood this time was very calm, and he was not nervous at all because, even if you don't count the inert gas charged into it, it is absolutely safe to have an automatic paralysis device. The Red Bull energy deducts all the blue energy. It was so shocking. Science fiction films don't have that kind of script danger. It doesn't exist. As long as there are senior brothers, no matter how dangerous the experiment is, it will always be the safest after all. Almighty scientific researcher, are you kidding me? Despair. The last startup module was completely activated, and the experiment entered the most critical time. The next 5 minutes were countdown. Chapter 108. The Devil. Buzzing. The sound of the current gradually became louder because the entire magic modification device was sealed. The blue light could only be seen shining through the center position. 5 seconds. The internal temperature instrument meter directly broke through the previous peak value, and the plasma current volt-second increased sharply all the way. Tang Heibo couldn't help swallowing beside him, judging from the previous situation. The experimental data this time is very fierce. Could it be because of filling it with inert gas? He always felt that the plasma in the vacuum tube had let go of itself. Data is continuously printed on the paper that records data in real time. 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes and 50 seconds. It has lasted for more than half of the time, and judging from the situation at the scene, everything is still stable. Is it really possible this time? Tang Heibo's face was flushed with excitement because this is a modified tokamak device. Compared with ordinary miniature nuclear fusion experiments, I don't know how much stronger it is, and he, a graduate student in Huaking, fortunate to be able to participate in this. It is too much like a dream scene. Just when Tang Heibo was thinking about it, a familiar voice appeared. Sizzle, this is. Tang Heibo reacted after being stunned for a moment. Ionization phenomenon. The distance between the starting module and the coil is too close. Through Xu Teng's explanation, he also understands that this is the relationship of the problem. Thinking of this, he thought about it again in his heart. Among the inert gas ratios that senior brother Xu gave me, there are helium, neon, argon, There is nothing wrong with every type of gas charged in, and I am not wrong with the latter 50%. The process is also to turn on half the voltage first, and then increase to the original voltage after stabilization. The steps are not wrong, so, the ionization phenomenon must be solved. Unlike before, this time the hissing sound didn't keep expanding even with time. The sound started to get smaller and smaller. Do it all at once. Second time tired, third time exhausted before it can last. It has passed the sprint stage. 4 minutes and 50 seconds. The sound of the electric current was no longer heard. Only a steady blue light, flickering and flickering, could be seen the last 10 seconds. Xu Teng turned his head and stared at the temperature emitter and plasma current volt-second meter. As long as the pointer counts don't change, that's all success. 10, 9. Xu Teng's breathing became heavy, and Tang Heibo, who was standing beside him, gasped loudly as if he was infected because this is the opening of new energy. 5, 3. The data on the meter is very stable too. Pen interest librarian ding ding ding. When the set time has expired, the device starts to automatically power off. The data of the instrument begins to fall, and the blue startup modules start to turn off one by one. It worked. The two turned their heads to look at each other, and the next second began to cheer. Ha, we succeeded. Senior brother Xu is awesome. Amazing. Tang Heibo began to cheer, and the whole person danced and shouted while waving his arms. Ko Guang. Game overturned. I'm sorry, but those are nothing compared to the joy of scientific research that has ushered in a new era. In contrast, Xu Teng calmed down a lot. Looking at the calmed magic modification device, he tightly clenched the printed data image with both hands, spit out the turbid air in his heart. The energy required for the ion shield has finally succeeded. At this moment, the voice of the Black Technology System sounded in my mind. Ding. Congratulations to the host for solving the energy problem. Energy points obtained. 1. Total energy points. 3. Hearing this sentence, Xu Teng was stunned. Is there another way to obtain energy points? The drawings given this time are not complete. Because the energy part is missing. As for how to create the energy required for the shield, the blueprint does not even mention it. So, as long as a piece of the system that does not provide a solution is completed alone, energy points are also obtained. The sound did not stop at this moment. Ding! Congratulations to the host for the magical modification of the existing technology device and the successful completion of the experiment. Have obtained the badge, Magic Reformer the Magician, or badges. This is simply an extra surprise. Before Xu Teng unlocked the badge, integration, when learning the basics of physics and conducting experiments, he felt the benefits of the badge effect. The knowledge learned can be brought together in a new way in one sentence. An existence like opening and hanging, and now there's another badge. Really? Wonderful. Looking at the black badge that suddenly appeared in his mind, Xu Teng couldn't help but check it out. Magic Reformer. When challenging a problem of the nature of the world, there is a certain chance that the existing technology can be modified by magic, and the success rate will be increased. The badge lights up, showing the progress of the experiment. Xu Teng installed the starter module of the blaster on the tokamak, and a blank sheet of paper calculated a specific angle. Because of the need to pay attention to the safety of the experiment, Xu Teng modified the automatic paralysis device again and installed it on the device immediately after. That is, the starter module is activated, emits blue light, and accelerates the kinetic energy pen fun library. When the third part of the experiment was about to get out of control, the red bowl clasped all the blue energy together and digested it. This is the process of my experiment. Xu Teng was shocked. He thought the black technology system was just a tool for issuing blueprints. It now appears that the experimentation process will also be recorded, and badges will be issued based on the results of the experiment. Really want to evaluate it? That's pretty smart. Although the introduction of the badge did not say how many chances and how many success rates, but can think of, those odds are bound to increase as further experiments progress, just like the effect of triggering the badge integration. At first, it needs to be actively carried out. Now, it is often triggered inadvertently. Xu Teng is very satisfied with today's experiment. Not only solved the energy problem, but also got a badge, Magic Transformation Master. If this calculation is made, the time for the completion of the ion energy shield will be greatly shortened. At this time, Tang Heibo, who was jumping, ran over quickly and said happily, "Senior brother Xu, let's have a big meal at a restaurant outside now. Let's celebrate. I'll treat you." If it wasn't for the signing of a non-disclosure agreement, Tang Heibo would definitely take this opportunity to pretend to be a big pusher. Unfortunately, no, I can only go to a restaurant with my senior brother to celebrate. Restaurant? Xu Teng looked up at the clock. It was 9:30 at this point. There is nothing in the cafeteria, so I can only eat at restaurants outside. It's okay. Let's go to the cafeteria. I have a campus card, school card. I don't have it either. The key is that there is no food at 9:30, but when he saw the campus card Xu Teng took out, Tang Heibo was stunned. This card, it seems very different. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109 at in number 039, S. Great to do scientific research with senior brother Xu. Tang Heibo originally wanted to say, "What good food can be in the cafeteria?" This sentence was directly swallowed by him. Judging from this special campus card, it's not that there are no good dishes in the cafeteria, it's him. Tang Heibo is not qualified. Just when he was stunned, Xu Teng had closed the switch and everything was tidy up. "Junior brother, let's go now." Fine. It's not that I don't believe Tang Heibo, although my scientific research level is not as strong as that of senior brother Xu, but as a rich second generation I have seen the world. I would like to see King. What kind of dishes are in the cafeteria that I am not qualified to go to? I have never eaten. Not me blowing. If there are no good dishes today's celebration feast, no matter what, I have to reorganize the luxurious package for my senior brother because the energy in the laboratory has created a new generation of energy. Xu Teng led the way, and Tang Heibo followed. Going up the stairs, they just walked in front of Ant, but they haven't spoken yet. I heard Ant greet him warmly. "Young man, here, you are finally here." Tang Heibo's face was full of doubts. Why Ant was so enthusiastic in the canteen window on this upper floor looking at senior brother Xu's eyes. He eagerly wanted to marry his daughter to senior brother. "And, are you waiting for me specifically?" Xu Teng is also a little strange, although he often eats here, But not every day. Why? It seems to be waiting for me exclusively today, that's for sure. Those of you who are engaged in scientific research have really worked hard. As for us, although we don't have any culture, we can't help in scientific research. But, in terms of diet, we are definitely more professional than you. Today's celebration banquet will definitely be without you. Celebration feast? Xu Teng and Tang Hebo grabbed the main words at once. Under normal circumstances, it is impossible for the canteen ant to know unless someone specifically asked, who would that be? As soon as this thought appeared in Xu Teng's mind, he knew who it was. Brother Yun. When he came before, the second part of the experiment had been successful for them. The success of miniature nuclear fusion is already a great joy. Whatever the third part, whether the experiment will be successful at night, is a matter worthy of a celebration banquet. And so, today's dish, and, do we have something to eat today? Tang Hebo asked shyly, his words full of anticipation. That's for sure. And Yuo, show you the menu. Pick it yourself, the ingredients are guaranteed to be fresh. A handwritten menu is pushed out. Just as Xu Teng held it in his hand, Tang Hebo, who came to watch it, was directly petrified. Fuck. King crab, big Aussie lobster, Italian white truffle, Iberico ham. This Nima is really outrageous. Among them, there are top quality ingredients and precious ingredients. Is there such a thing in the cafeteria? Some top restaurants don't have this ingredient. Is this really reasonable? It's not that I haven't seen this scene in my life. To be honest, this scene is something I can't even imagine, and these are only Western-style ingredients, and there are Chinese-style ingredients on the next page. Sorry, butter crab, Tibetan pig, this horse. Some things are put on the market, and it is hard to find a lot of money. Tang Hebo was immediately stunned. Because the current scene was too far off the mark. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would have thought that others were joking with him. Seeing these ingredients, Xu Teng frowned and said, is this arranged by senior brother? But, there are so many ingredients, I can't finish it. Hearing this sentence, Tang Hebo's face became a little strange. Brother, the first reaction is that it will be wasted and can't be eaten. Ant's eyes lit up. She said the same thing to Dean Yun in the afternoon, and the dean's answer was, don't worry, it's all in moderation, and I believe that the junior and junior brothers will have another choice. Before waiting for Ant to reply, Xu Teng turned to look at it and said directly, have your staff eaten? Why don't you eat together? In fact, the celebration banquet is not just for those of us who work on projects. Those of you who do the logistics are also very important. My God, it was exactly the same as what the dean said in the afternoon. Dean Yun's original words were, my junior brother is a very pure person. If you believe me, the dean, today don't eat dinner tonight. Because, that junior brother of mine would say, the celebration banquet is not just for him, but also for you, the equally important logisticians. At this moment, Aunt and Uncle, who were watching, were obviously stunned. They did believe in Yuncheng and did not eat, but they are all just curious, and it's okay to have a late meal unexpectedly. The junior brother in the mouth of Dean Yun is really such a pure person, and what he said is exactly the same. Everyone was stunned, happy, and their noses were sour. If everyone is like this, how dare the Japanese pirates? Ha ha ha. Okay, just listen to you. Go and sit. We'll cook now. Some biscuits. Eat first, and pamper your stomach. Tang Hebo was stunned. This scene. It seems that only a person like a senior brother can do it. In other words, did Dean Yunsheng guess that such a situation would happen? Otherwise, they're all Chinese and Western ingredients following my senior brother. What I learned is not just scientific research. It seems that even the surrounding air has become sweeter. Crash dong dong dong. The sound of kitchen utensils rang out one after another when bowls of dishes are brought out. Steamed red king crab, butter crab flowing with butter, katsuri sprinkled with chopped green onion, drizzled with rich sauce, the aroma that blows, the atmosphere in full swing. This celebration feast, 2 students and a group of Uncle Ant sat together. Come on. You two have a taste of my craft. Xu Teng tore open the crab shell, ate the crab roe, mouthful of aroma, and said with a smile, Uncle's craftsmanship is really good. Haha, that's right. If you have a chance in the future, come to my house for dinner every day. Damn, Laoli, what are you doing? Others just praise you for your good food. You actually want to marry your daughter to him and be his father? No, nonsense. I obviously didn't mean that. It's quibbling. That's what you mean. Tang Hebo held the steaming fish fillet and looked here and there. The atmosphere is so good. No, no. Tang Hebo shook his head, turning to look at Xu Teng, who was chewing slowly. He secretly said, I should say, it's great to do scientific research with senior brother Xu. Chapter 110 The seven-footed body is hard for Su Guo and Su Qing. Drop drop drop, a hand stretched out from the quilt, swiped at the phone screen, and turned off the alarm clock. Time, 6:30. The winter in the north is too cold, but in the separate bedroom arranged by Yunsheng, the heating is fully turned on. In the past, Xu Teng was used to going to bed early and getting up early. Now, after the addition of the Red Star Energy liquid, his physical fitness has risen to a new level. Even 5 hours of sleep is enough for him. At the same time, Xu Teng also felt that with the passage of time, the Red Star Energy liquid would be completely digested. I don't know, junior brother. If I can still get up on time today, how could there be no wine at the celebration dinner last night? Even if Yunsheng didn't bring it, aunt and uncle in the cafeteria knew that the young man in front of him must have completed a big project. Otherwise, king crab, Australian lobster, all kinds of top-quality ingredients in Eastern and Western styles will not be delivered to the cafeteria. Xu Teng doesn't like drinking, not to mention that he will continue his research tomorrow. So everyone persuaded, but not persuaded. Result, Teng Heibo drank it and kept shouting at the end, I am really happy to do scientific research with senior brother Su. The romance of a real man is to do scientific research, Ko Guang? What is that? The goal of a person's life must be the sea of stars in the depths of the interstellar space, and the uncle who drank it almost made a parental engagement with Teng Heibo. Fortunately, it was lifted in time. Woohoo! Xu Teng tightened his code and went to the cafeteria for breakfast. Rich mung bean porridge, added a sufficient amount of sugar, and then soaked the steaming golden fried dough sticks soaked soft. Eat with hot porridge. Yesterday's experiment has been a perfect success. Judging from the situation on site, the magically modified tokamak device plus the discharge device can become the energy source of the shield. Even the overall effect will be exceptionally effective. The duration of the experiment is 5 minutes, but there was a startup time before. If all these are counted, 7 minutes is no problem. This means that, to solve the technical requirements of the shield, the simplified version of the ion energy shield can run for 7 minutes at full speed on the battlefield. 7 minutes, hey, you can do a lot of things. When I think of it, in the future, the individual soldier will calmly activate the ion energy shield in the face of artillery fire coverage, then the lightsaber in the left hand, and the blaster gun in the right hand. All the way thinking about it makes my blood boil. As for the progress of previous projects, Yunsheng will report to him from time to time. At the same time, we will listen to Xu Teng's opinions and solve some difficult problems encountered in production some time ago. Xu Teng heard Yunsheng say that he can produce a lightsaber a month now. This is only the first arsenal that has fully mastered the technology. As the technicians popularize the production technology, the production speed of the lightsaber will be improved and the technology mastered by the blaster gun has reached 50%. It will be a while before the first arsenal that produces blaster guns completely independently. Judging from the current situation, the overall environment of the world is generally safe, but Xu Teng always had a hunch. When he got the Magic Reformer badge yesterday, the black technology system showed the whole process of the experiment. It's just like, combined with the experimental process, it is judged whether the host can obtain the badge qualification. It's way too smart, but according to the current technological level of Blue Star, it is impossible to produce the blueprints of these projects, let alone the black technology system itself. So, Xu Teng was a little anxious, hoping to get more energy points to wake up the system from its slumber. There seems to be something hidden behind it. After drinking the last mouthful of hot porridge, he raised his head to meet Aunt's eager eyes in the cafeteria. Young man, are you finished? Well, finished drinking? She asked enthusiastically as she handed the bowl to the cafeteria aunt. Young man, are you still single? Let me tell you, you must fall in love. I have a relative's daughter. Xu Teng's scalp was numb, and he said seriously, and Su Guo, who is 7 feet tall, can't allow Qing. What did you say? What country? What kind of minister? The enthusiastic aunt was interrupted by the sudden word, and fell into a state of confusion. Farewell? Hurry up and slip. Seeing Xu Teng running so fast, aunt woke up with a satisfied smile. Hey, this guy, I like it more and more. That's not right. I invited him yesterday. If there is time in the future, it will be no problem to come to my house for dinner every day. Old Li, who is holding the rice spoon, laughed. Old Li, this is your inauthentic. The other guy, you have a big dinner at the celebration banquet. You actually want to be his father. Old Li's face sank, and he counterattacked. If you still have the face to talk about me, others will come over for breakfast. You actually want to be his mother? Hey, good son, Gan. It's taking advantage of me. On the other side, Xu Teng quickly ran to the laboratory. It's not that he is afraid of the cold, but the sooner he completes it, the more he can unlock the next technology. This is too important for the improvement of Longo's technological level. There is another reason. The modified tokamak device plus the discharge device is a bit larger. It needs to be redesigned to reduce the volume and use it as the size of the watch dial. Only in this way can the requirements of the ionic energy shield be truly fulfilled, because the requirement in the design drawings is that it can be worn like a watch. Drop fingerprint verification. When the lab door is opened, Xu Teng was stunned, and there were two people standing in front of him, Yun Sheng, who was petrified with his breakfast, and Tang Heibo, who giggled. "Senior brother, you're here so early? Hey, brother, why? Stayed up." The celebration banquet arranged last night was to celebrate the completion of the second part of the experiment by junior brother Xu. In the evening, the teacher also asked Yun Sheng about the third part of the experiment, which was what Yun Sheng said at the time: "I have seen junior brother Xu's design. The third part is to activate all the startup modules. Although I don't understand it very well, I know that all activations will not only double the difficulty. Junior brother Xu, it would be good to be able to complete the third part of the experiment this week." At that time, Su Wei also nodded, and told him to come over today to see the progress of the experiment because, compared with other people, Xiao Su's experimental progress is often a bit terrifying. Who knows? Not long after entering the laboratory, I saw Tang Heibo, the arranged assistant, taking care of the hygiene. Yun Sheng asked casually, "How was the celebration banquet yesterday?" Tang Heibo immediately blew. "President Yun, the celebration banquet arranged is really good. I have never eaten such good ingredients in my life. It's just that the dean is really amazing." "How do you know that we will finish it last night?" "The third part of the experiment." "Oh, the ingredients are good." "Wait. The third part of the experiment was also successful." Yun Sheng felt the point of this sentence. "I ride a horse. Did you really just sleep last night?" "It's not that I fell asleep for a week unconsciously." Chapter 111 Golden Blueprint. Yun Sheng now finds that he still doesn't seem to be bold enough in front of his junior brother Xu. No matter what kind of scientific research, you can open your mind and imagine it. So, within the few hours that I left, junior brother Xu found the problem and solved it successfully. Just when Yun Sheng doubted his life, Xu Teng's voice came over. "Senior brother Yun, Senior brother Yun." "Huh? Oh, junior brother is here. I solved the energy problem yesterday, and today I plan to start the ion energy shield project earlier, so I came here." "Listen, what people say." This relaxed tone, Yun Sheng held back for a long time before slowly asking, "Bring breakfast for junior brother. Do you want to eat it?" "Oh, thank you, brother. It's just that I have eaten." Hey, some people are really not only talented but also hardworking." Tang Heibo's eyes lit up next to him, and he asked tentatively, "President Yun, this breakfast, in fact, Before he could finish speaking, Yun Sheng interrupted the spellcasting roll. "Oh well." Tang Heibo neatly went to pack his things. As a rich second generation, he has participated in many banquets. Just like yesterday, he did drink a little. "I wasn't drunk, so I woke up quickly. I got up at 6 o'clock, and the movement of getting up in the morning shocked my roommate because they found that Tang Heibo's interest in Kao Gong was becoming less and less, and he was always muttering in his mouth recently. A real man should do scientific research, and he must study with his senior brother and so on." Seeing the younger brother who was about to get busy, Yun Sheng also quietly retreated after such a long time. He has already planned to listen to the teacher thoroughly. Don't disturb the younger brother to do scientific research. If he needs an assistant, you can try it. And he is now numb to the progress of his younger brother's scientific research and the beginning of numbness. Even if his younger brother tells him in a few days that he has built a mecha, oh no, the mecha is still very excited. "Silently make a call. Beep beep," and the call will be answered in seconds. Yun Sheng reported to the teacher in a salty voice, "Teacher, junior brother Xu succeeded in the third part of the experiment last night." Yes, he has already developed the ion energy shield. Ready to work. The results are not over yet." There was a beeping sound from the phone. "Alright, I get it, teacher. You are tired from working on the project again, and you need to rest." Woo. Originally the cutest student, but now he has become a cloud tool person. On the other side, in the laboratory, Tang Heibo, who had already cleaned up, stood quietly beside Xu Teng. Although most of the schematic diagrams he does not understand very well, he is still clear about the markings above ion energy shield. Note, it can be worn on the arm like a watch, and it enters a charged state when it is not activated. The energy problem is indeed solved. A new problem has also emerged. the sealed magic modified tokamak device plus the discharge device has become relatively smaller in size, but it still exceeds the requirements. It cannot be worn on the arm, so senior brother will still be able to change, but this can't be changed anymore. How to look at it is to compress the volume into the smallest space at this time. Xu Teng, who is in a state of contemplation, did trigger the effect of the badge. Magic Reformer. Magic Reformer, when challenging a problem of the nature of the world, there is a certain chance that the existing technology can be modified by magic, and the success rate will be increased. Ding. You have chosen to actively trigger. Trigger item, Ion Energy Shield. Trigger object, the modified tokamak device and its discharge device. Analyzing the dimensions of each device. Accessories, analyzing the effect of each device. Accessories, generating a new magic modification blueprint. Drawings in production, 5%, 50%. Xu Teng saw the gray torrents, the trigger lines of the badge effect, rolling over and over in his mind. Use your mental power to examine it carefully. Below the torrent is the knowledge of every profession. When he touched it with his hand, the gray torrent seemed to have finally found the object of venting, and they all rushed up. SHHHHHH. A huge amount of knowledge was tumbling in Xu Teng's mind, and his HUD hurt at this moment. If it wasn't for the transformation of the red star energy fluid, Xu Teng might not be able to withstand it. 80%, 100%, ding, the magic modified blueprint was successfully produced. The catharsis ended. Xu Teng gasped for breath. Senior brother, are you alright? How about I contact the doctor? Tang Hebo has been watching from the side. He does not know what's going on. Brother Mingming didn't do anything, just stared at the blueprint and the magic modification device. Why did his face suddenly become tense? Also, it gets worse over time. Ding Yun is worthy of being a professional post-stage staff. Not only did he prepare all the materials, but even a professional team of doctors was not far from the base. As long as Tang Hebo stepped forward and photographed a sky blue button in less than 3 minutes, a professional team of doctors in white coats will come over. No need. After adjustment, Xu Teng's breathing became more comfortable compared with just now. There was a golden blueprint in his mind, to be precise, the energy blueprint after the magic modification. Real. Tang Hebo was a little nervous and worried. Real. Xu Teng turned his head and replied with a smile, a little more fire in his eyes. Pen Fun Library. This is, seeing those fiery eyes, Tang Hebo understood that senior brother really didn't need a doctor, because, then it's time for the brother's performance. Xu Teng tore open a piece of white paper and began to draw the blueprints produced by the badge, Magic Transformation Master. On it, the volume is not the main problem. When the volume is a little larger, it can be reduced proportionally. The key is how to ensure that the reduced performance remains unchanged. The key point of starting the module is, the fixed position calculated cannot be changed, and there is a narrow space for acceleration. So everything else can be discarded. The key to the tokamak is, coils, vacuum pipes, so everything else can be thrown away. There are 2 points to ensure the absolute safety of the device. One is the automatic paralysis device after the magical modification, and the other is the inert gas filled into the device. So the above parts are all key points. Others can be cut off, and some can be reduced proportionally. As Xu Teng's drawing on the white paper slowly took shape, Tang Hebo was stunned by the sight for the first few seconds. He was still worrying about how the device could be reduced to the size of a watch dial, and in those few seconds, senior brother Xu pondered, panted, exhaled. Everything is resolved. Then why do I meditate? Pant, exhale, just want to sleep. Looking at the various sizes of accessories on the paper, Tang Hebo understood the problem of scaling down. Solved. Chapter 112. Scientific Research Thugs. At this time, Xu Teng's brain cells were extremely active, and he didn't expect that the first trigger effect of the badge, Magic Reformer, was a golden blueprint, although he didn't know what quality the golden drawings were. But judging from the situation at the scene, one thing is known: this drawing is very awesome. Moreover, compared with the badge integration, the effect of the badge, Magic Transformation Master, is stronger. After integration is triggered, it will only have an effect at that moment, get excited for a while, and then get weak. After the Magic Reformer is triggered, it will continue to be excited at the back, and it will become more and more excited, hard and long. Lasting, the space of the equipment was continuously compressed, and under the trigger of the badge effect, Xu Teng saw useless things one by one. Cut. It's not necessary at all. Huh? Pipes? What's the matter? Will magic modified things need pipes? Need to leave an opening? No, set the program directly. If it is lost on the battlefield, It will become the enemy's loot, and it will directly turn it into a bomb. TNT? What? The layout is small, and the power directly turns into a small missile. You dare to pick up my things, Boots? No, it's just a death knell for you to knock on the gates of hell. Hearing Xu Teng muttering to himself, Tang Heibo was a little stunned if nothing else. Senior brother's current appearance is very deterrent. As soon as ordinary researchers leave their field, they can be manipulated like chickens, but now, brother seems to be a little scary. Is TNT less powerful? Want to pick up my stuff for loot? Dreaming. Send you a death knell that can knock on the door of hell. He suddenly thought of a sentence. A scientific researcher who cannot deter the enemy is not a good scientific researcher. Hiss. There was one thing he only noticed now: senior brother is very strong, not those weak researchers hidden under the figure of the white coat. It seems to have a surprising physique, so, if the Dragon Kingdom needs it someday, the senior brother is also a staff member who can go off the field and practice in person. As soon as the ion energy shield is opened, the lightsaber in the left hand, and the blaster gun that shoots wildly in the right hand, a group of gangsters broke into the laboratory and yelled at the researchers in the distance. Gangster, all the scientific researchers listen to me, then you just need to be honest. In fact, you can live. The words are not over yet. I was knocked down by my senior brother. I'm sorry. What did you say? I seem to hear you say. You have to be honest with me. Hiss. Tang Heibo took a deep breath and stopped quickly. Can't think anymore. Call. Xu Teng exhaled slowly, took out the drawing and saw it was perfect after the superimposition of the effect of the badge. Magic changed master. The magically changed device has become the same size as the watch dial, can meet the requirements of system drawings. The excitement in his mind also began to dissipate. What surprised Xu Teng was that he didn't expect that the effect of the badge, magic changed master, would have a feverish item: fanaticism. Magic reformer. The passive effect is triggered. Once triggered, the brain cells will instantly become active, providing 100% productivity. The only downside, it looks a little scary to others. Scary. Still use 3 exclamation marks in succession. The system is generally not used this way. Unless special. Xu Teng, who turned his head, was stunned, because he saw that Tang Heibo's expression was a bit wrong. You? What's wrong with you? Oh, have you finished the drawing of senior brother? Well, I see you look a little scared. When Xu Teng said this, Tang Heibo said immediately, no, I don't have it, really not. Facing Xu Teng's inquiring eyes, Tang Heibo hesitated for a while, then said, actually, it's not that I'm afraid, it's just that it's hard to see another side of my brother, the other side. But Xu Teng was stunned. Which side? I thought that the senior brother was only doing research, but now it seems that if there is any turmoil, the senior brother can directly go into battle to solve others. Is not it good? Tang Heibo was stunned. Yes, isn't that bad? A researcher who can't deal with thugs is not a good researcher. Senior brother, I understand. I will definitely pay more attention to my body in the future. After convincing Tang Heibo with reason, Xu Teng turned his head and started to modify the device after the magic modification. Ding 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 dang dang. Look at the props that keep flying, and the samples that are being assembled quickly. Tang Heibo kept asking himself in the bottom of his heart, there are things in this world that senior brothers can't? Should be gone. Okay, I get it now. Brothers will definitely not have children by themselves. After listening to the tool, Xu Teng took out the modified device and said to Tang Heibo, prepare for the test. This time, directly connect to the maximum voltage, and there is no need to drop the voltage by half. Okay, alright, the power supply problem is solved, and the next work has also entered the topic from the introduction of the blueprint given by Black Technology. The ion energy shield is not a traditional physical shield. When it is not activated, it can be charged by wearing it on your hand like a watch. When activated, it is applied to the surface-covered charged particle field to deflect all energy attacks. So, the first question is how to express this kind of shield. The real thing shrinks and pops up again. No, absolutely impossible. Today's technology does not yet have this compressed space technology. What's more, the technology on the drawings is not involved at all from this point of view. It is more like holographic projection technology. Some time ago, Xu Teng happened to learn all the basics of physics major. There is still some understanding of this technology. The ordinary holographic projection technology is a technology of recording and reproducing the real three-dimensional image of an object by using the principles of interference and diffraction. The first step is to use the interference principle to record the light wave information of the object, and the photographed object forms a diffuse object beam under the laser radiation. The other part of the laser is used as a reference beam to hit the holographic film, and it overlaps with the object beam to interfere. converting the phase and amplitude of each point on the object light wave into a spatially varying intensity, so as to use the contrast and interval between the interference fringes to convert the object light wave. All information recorded. The second step is to use the diffraction principle to reproduce the light wave information of the object, which is the imaging process. The hologram is like a complex grating. Under the irradiation of coherent laser light, the diffracted light waves of a linearly recorded sinusoidal hologram can generally give two images, namely the original image, also known as the initial image, and the conjugate image. No, it's definitely not a pure holographic projection technology. Because it's just a projection, and it can't have the ability to shield, let alone the charged particles that can be carried on it. Just when Xu Teng fell into the role of thinking, badge, integration, passive trigger. Chapter 113 The Shape of the Dual Core. A series of sounds from the black technology system began to prompt in Xu Teng's mind. Ding, the badge fusion is passively triggered. Trigger item, ion energy shield. Trigger object, the composition of the shield analyzing, optics, mechanics, quantum physics, electromagnetics, thermals, physiological hygiene. Seems like something weird is mixed in processing 50%. Forget it. Next second, a torrent appeared in Xu Teng's mind. The magic modified device can provide powerful energy, and the coil inside it can generate a powerful magnetic field. Then why can't the strong magnetic field be used to change the surrounding environment? When the device is activated, the required shield is generated in front. The thoughts that were originally closed were opened up in an instant. Yes, it is the magnetic field for the magically modified device. The energy generated is far greater than that of ordinary nuclear fusion. In other words, as long as the device is triggered, a magnetic field will be generated in the magic modified device. Previously, Xu Teng had done some treatment on the material, and the magnetic field generated in the magic modification device was mostly eliminated. Now, if you need to use the magnetic field, you must need something like a guide to guide the excess magnetic field to converge in front, and then form the appearance of a shield. So, what should be used to guide it next? Xu Teng fell into contemplation, and the effect of the badge, integration, also entered the countdown. Remaining inspiration time, 10 acoustics, no thermal, it is also not possible. Remaining inspiration time, 5 well, physical hygiene, again, why is a strange thing mixed and again go away? Mechanics inspiration time, 0. When this thought arose, Xu Teng's eyes lit up. Right, yes, it's mechanics. Pure mechanics is indeed impossible, but what if you put a dual core or something on the modded device? To put it simply, it is similar to the essence of an electromagnet. One is the N pole and the other is the S pole, in which the N level can generate energy. The S pole is outside, and it is repelled to form a circular shield. More professionally speaking, one forms a strong field, and the other can emit a strong magnetic field. The advantage of this is that it does not light can control the shield device at will to emit the desired shield properties and save energy. Yep, that's the ideal. When Xu Teng got out of the inspired state, he just met Tang Heibo's confused eyes. Brother, what's wrong with you? Oh, no, nothing. I just think seeing your brother is a little weird. Strangeness. Seeing Xu Teng's confused eyes, Tang Heibo finally chose to speak out. I just feel that every time I encounter a problem, my senior brother will enter a state of contemplation. Moreover, as long as we get out of the contemplative state, all problems will be solved by senior brother. If it was the first time before, it may be lucky, but after so many times, it's really a bit weird. Tang Heibo began to wonder if senior brother was a high-speed celestial computer. Why meditation can solve problems, and as soon as I entered the state of meditation, after a long time, I felt very sleepy. Hey, brother, are you going to tell me the real secret? Tang Heibo's face was full of anticipation. Learn the basic courses of all physics majors in 1 month, and let all physics masters fall into a state of doubting life. Brother's secret, is it finally going to be passed on to me? I don't know. Every time I fall into a state of contemplation, my brain cells and various physiological states will speed up. Is it? After a pause, Xu Teng continued, it's because of the reason I'm called a genius. Genius, the reason. These words revolved magically in Tang Heibo's mind. Puff puff. Tang Heibo seemed to hear countless arrows pierced into his heart. I'm so stupid. Really, brother Xu is a recognized genius. Why should I ask? Isn't it a good thing to keep silent? Obviously. Senior brother Xu has been very reserved at this moment. Tang Heibo's eyes fell into a loveless look. Oh, senior, really? It's simple and clear. At this time, Xu Teng didn't notice Tang Heibo's shocked eyes again. Black technology systems and badges. These things are naturally impossible to tell him so. He just came up with a reason. Turning his gaze back, he looked at the magic modification device in his hand. So now what do a dual-core device? After having an idea, the first thing to determine is how to determine the position of the dual-core and how to make the dual-core problems always have to be solved first. Therefore, how to determine the location has become the first problem to be solved. Put it inside the magic modification device. The schematic diagram of the magic modification device was extracted by Xu Teng. The main ones are the automatic paralysis device, the activation module, the miniature tokamak device. The automatic paralysis device will not work. That is the premise of ensuring safety. The shape of the startup module has also been compressed to a minimum. As for the miniature tokamak device, it is even worse. There is no room for it, so, from various results, the interior space is not acceptable. Then it can only be considered from the exterior space, and the dual core. The distance also needs to be as close as possible, the closer the better. Having determined this, Xu Teng already had an idea for the location of the dual core among the magically modified installations. The center position was specially reserved by Xu Teng because in the original setting, even if the magically modified device accidentally becomes the enemy's loot, it must not be used by them. So in the center position, he reserved a chip with a written program. What is recorded in the chip is the DNA information of the user. If the information is different, it will be detonated directly once it is forced to activate in the location of this. Also the location chosen for the dual core, the strength of the magnetic field will be the strongest, and because the chip is there, it is also the place with the strongest protection compared to other locations. Then what is determined now is the shape. The magic modification device has been changed to the size of the dial. In order not to attract the attention of the enemy, the inactive state of the ion energy shield is the shape of a watch, so, the chip is set to be the point where the hour and minute hands can be embedded, and the shape of the dual core is set to be the hour hand. Yes, it's the hour hand. Xu Teng happily drew an hour hand on the schematic, and Tang Heibo, who had managed to sort out his mentality, fell into a confused state again when he saw that hour hand. Senior brother, it seems that I fell into a state of contemplation just now. So, senior brother, did you solve something again? Chapter 114. Ion number 039. I'm obviously just going to have a meal. In fact, Tang Heibo wanted to ask Xu Teng, senior brother, why are you so happy when you draw the shape of an hour hand? But with a previous experience, the cells of the whole body are eliminating this kind of inquiry because it turns out that you can understand every word of some words, but when combined together, you can only abba. Scientific research is not a multiple choice question. If you don't know, you can choose the shortest of 3 longs and 1 short, and the longest of 3 shorts and 1 long. Not knowing is not knowing, even in a situation where people are being pushed hard. After all, still can't do it then. Tang Heibo silently sorted out various data and schematic diagrams, and slowly tried to analyze the way he had dealt with the problem in the way of his brother. It is impossible to catch up with the senior brother, and I only hope that I can participate in the senior brother's project in the future. After all, following my senior brother is literally more than 10 years, or even decades, ahead of the scientific research level of other laboratories, as Tang Heibo thought. Xu Teng did solve a series of small problems. For example, the shape of the ion energy shield when it is not activated. Pen Fun Library. Don't think it's just a matter of shape, but it's actually a very important thing. The blueprints were given by the Black Technology System before. The blaster gun has a rough appearance, and it even looks a little bit hideous at that time. Xu Teng didn't feel it yet, it was just following the blueprint. And this time the missing part of the ion energy shield blueprint made him realize the ferocious and rough appearance is the most suitable for the nature of the blaster. Just like the front end of the sports car will be streamlined, that is to reduce the resistance of the air, the appearance of the blaster is designed to suit all kinds of extreme weather. Likewise, the inactive shape of the ion energy shield is for concealment. But Xu Teng fell into contemplation this time, not because he solved other problems, but because he was caught in a new challenge. The position and shape of the dual core have been confirmed, and now it is a question of how to make the dual core. If the dual core is compared to a large magnetic pole, the magnetic field inside the magic modification device is opposite to the magnetic field outside, and the shape of the hour hand is the part in the middle of the magnetic pole. When it comes to the benefits, it's obvious. Xu Teng took out a new piece of white paper and used a pen to draw a demonstration map on it. When activated, because the activation device, it has always been a watch, and the magnetic field is within a controllable range, and it can bring the opposite magnetic field wherever you go. In short, the distance is controllable and the distance is set. On a wide battlefield, this set distance is really not a big deal, and it can even be ignored, because of small flaws. You are always in a situation of concessions in front of life only. If you are caught in a street fight, this distance will be troublesome. No. Distance is not a problem. Just when Xu Teng was about to fall into a misunderstanding, he suddenly realized there are 3 forms of activation for the modified micro-devices. One is the normal nuclear fusion method, one is the way to activate half of the boot module, the last one is to activate all startup modules for the 3 startup modes. Because the number of startup modules activated is different, the naturally obtained magnetic field is different. The distance formed by the shield can theoretically be adjusted, as long as the 3 activation methods are activated and the experiment is carried out on the basis of dual cores. The relevant distance data can be obtained. Through the guidance of the dual core, the internal magnetic field is split. One is the positive magnetic field in the magic modification device, and the other is the negative magnetic field. To say that there are some disadvantages of dual core, that is, it is fragile and cannot be attacked. Once it is damaged, it will be very troublesome. Just when Xu Teng continued to think along the lines of his thoughts, goo, this is hungry. Xu Teng was stunned. I remember having just finished breakfast not long ago. Look up at the clock on the wall. It's 12:30. It was so late when he turned around and found that Tang Heibo was not on the laboratory. Where has junior brother Tang gone? Do you want to invite him to dinner? Drop. With a bang, the experimental door was open. Tang Heibo, who was walking inside, said enthusiastically to Xu Teng, "Senior brother, I guess you must be hungry. Come, eat while it's hot. I just called you." After being stunned for a while, Xu Teng said, "I'm sorry, junior brother." "Hey, senior brother, you are so polite to see outside. Open the steaming meal and take a look." Yellow millet peppers, sparse bisque with well-defined ribs, sprinkled with garnish with green onions. Another fragrant dish was the Peking duck, served with a spicy sauce finished with fried broccoli. Wrap the ribs in the thick soup. The spicy taste of millet pepper stimulates the tongue coating. Grab a bite of white rice, dip the crispy Peking duck in spicy sauce and chew it slowly. Until now, Xu Teng understands why it is served with a small portion of stir-fried broccoli. Just to understand the spiciness, it has to be said that junior brother Tang is indeed more thoughtful. Xu Teng couldn't help but glance at Tang Heibo. The latter is smiling shyly. "Brother, what do you think it tastes like?" "Good, it's good. I'm afraid that today's food won't suit my brother's taste." Usually, Xu Teng told Tang Heibo the food he was going to bring and asked him to come back this time. "Because I was addicted to the experiment, I accidentally forgot." Tang Heibo, who was sitting, also saw the drawings full of writing. In the few hours before going to dinner, he went through all the experimental procedures. Now looking at the dual core, guidance and various design drawings, I fell into a state of thinking, "Brother, do you mean to draw out the magnetic field in the magic modification device?" At this time, something like a needle was originally used as a guiding device. One part is a positive magnetic field and the other part is a negative magnetic field. The distance of the magnetic field is tested by activating the startup module, then the distance of the magnetic field is further determined. The more he looked down, the more he felt that his thinking was instantly pierced by someone with a stick, which was very smooth at the same time. He kept sighing in his heart, "Fuck, this is a wonderful method, senior brother." The device that can change the magic can be used immediately, and the dual core plays a role in guiding the division. And there is no need to spend a lot of energy to develop new things to make a dual core, and as I recall, the basis of the ionic energy shield is to create a flow of charged particles that deflects the attack. The shield is generated by a magnetic field. Is it difficult to make charged particles flow over the magnetic field? It's not difficult. So to count, is the project of ion energy shield far beyond expectations? Tang Heibo's expression suddenly became excited. "I obviously just went out for a meal." Chapter 115 The Magically Modified Dual Core Director. But judging from this set plan, it doesn't look like it was planned for more than half an hour. It's like a week, maybe even months. I really just went to the cafeteria to get a meal, instead of going to the other side of the ocean to get a meal. Ton. The sound of Xu Teng drinking water came from the side, and I have to say that junior brother Tang was really careful through this period of time. "I know that I like spicy food, and I also brought a vegetable, but this horse is a little too spicy. Wait for the next experiment to test the distance of the shield. Or do you want to use the younger brother as the distance measurement standard?" No. This is not good. You still can't make fun of junior and junior. It will be broken if you are not careful." Tang Heibo turned his head to look at senior brother Su's blushing face, and said apologetically, "I'm sorry, senior brother, I just want a little bit of chili. The chefs in the school must have misunderstood a little bit. It's okay, just be careful next time." "Let's start the experiment," Hearing that the new experiment was about to start, Tang Heibo had an excited expression on his face. Okay, I'll go get ready now. According to the material drawings given by Xu Teng, Tang Heibo started searching in the laboratory with a cheerful pace. There are many states in one's life, but the most fascinating thing is always the sense of achievement. A few hours ago, Tang Heibo had no idea about the experiment that senior brother Xu was going to do. Now once I understand the key part, I feel like I can do it again. What? You said that I was obliging before. No. There is no, it was just a momentary reluctance to speak, and the experimental process formulated by Xu Teng is also very clear. First make the dual-core guidance device, and then test the distance generated by the shield in the 3 activated states. The magnetic field is generated inside the magic modification device, and the reason for the magnetic field is the direction of the current in the coil. The requirement for shield generation is to generate magnetic fields of different properties, which means the direction of current flow is different direction of current flow. Thinking of this, Xu Teng's brows began to wrinkle. It is not difficult to generate different currents in the coil. But if different currents are placed in the same coil, magnetic fields of different properties are generated. Any science student would say, sorry, I really don't understand the nature of what you're talking about. I even want to ask, are you sure you are asking questions that humans can do? Realize this afterwards. Xu Teng drew on the white paper with a pen. Make another magic modified device? Then go through the dual-core guiding device to make it generate currents in different directions. No. It's still a coil as a whole, and this isn't a solution either. The judging standard of black technology has never been publicly displayed. Even now it is in a deep sleep. There is still an intelligent judgment standard, otherwise he would not have issued the badge, Magic Reformer, some time ago because he retrieved his experimental process correct, badge. Xu Teng found himself missing a key piece of information. Ding. Monitor the host's thoughts, whether to activate the badge, Magic Reformer startup. The effect of the badge is being triggered and has been triggered. Trigger item, Ion Energy Shield, trigger objects, dual-core guidance devices and the production of magnetic fields of opposite properties. Analyzing the dimensions of each device accessories, analyzing the effect of each device accessories, generating a new magic modification blueprint, 1%, 30%, 100%. Golden drawings have been generated. Brush, with the last sound, a pure golden blueprint appeared in Xu Teng's mind. Another golden blueprint, although Xu Teng doesn't know what the golden blueprint means, from the last magic modification device, the golden blueprint must be of good quality. Put your consciousness on the drawing, slam. Open a page, and display the information of the drawing. Magic modified dual core guide, shape description, the appearance is as small as a needle at the same time. Performance description, it can withstand the energy shock of the third part of the experiment, even if you use it with confidence, the golden gun will not fall. Parameter description. 10,230 million WS, 1575 13 mm. Looking at the series of descriptions, Xu Teng had to sigh in his heart. The black technology system is really too hardcore. If it hadn't been triggered again by the badge, Magic Change Master, he really didn't know how to make a dual core guide without adding a magic change device, and the performance of this parameter is too awesome. Is it counted in seconds? It's not that I haven't seen it. I'm sorry, I really haven't seen it yet. Past the power descriptions of the blaster project at the time were not so scary. All in all good, just, when describing the performance, there is a little bit of seriousness. It's okay, it's not a big problem, but from a certain aspect of the data, it is indeed a golden gun with such a strong power output. The guy can still withstand it. At this moment, Tang Heibo happily ran over with the materials he had found. Senior brother, look, these are all you need. Before he could finish speaking, he was stunned because, brother, what are you doing? Thought again. No, contemplation is not critical. The key is, why is the senior brother in a pensive state still holding a pen? The most terrifying thing is that others are so sleepy that they scribble on paper with a pen afterwards. I didn't even know what was written on the paper, but, brother, what you draw with your eyes closed is really too clear. Even a bystander like me can see it clearly, and many more, not doodles. This is the design drawing. Tang Heibo's guess was correct. Xu Teng was indeed drawing design drawings. To be more specific, drawing the design in his mind. The golden blueprint triggered by the badge, Magic Reformer, is generated in Xu Teng's mind. In terms of the efficiency of drawing with eyes open, Xu Teng's mental strength can be increased by drawing with eyes closed. The increased mental strength can perfectly restore the golden drawings that exist in his mind. Then, that's what Tang Heibo saw. The dual core guide of the magic modification will be a little longer, so it goes deep into the magic modification device and becomes a part of him. The in-depth part is divided into more than 100 thin ends, and each thin end is connected to a startup module, so when the conductive part of the coil is used, part of it will go from the thin end, and it will be automatically modified by magic. Paralyzing device. Finally, under the guidance of the automatic paralysis device, a reverse current will be formed, which will then form a magnetic field of different properties. Xu Teng was talking while he finished drawing the final magic modification dual-core controller. When I opened my eyes, it was perfect. It really was the golden blueprint in my mind. When he turned his head and was about to greet his junior brother, he found that the latter had a dull expression on his face. "You? What's wrong with you?" After hesitating for a while, Xu Teng asked cautiously. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116. What's wrong with me? Tang Heibo's current expressions are all black question marks. When I put a question mark, it's not that I have a problem, but that I think you have a problem. Brother, I just went to get the materials. In such a short time, brother, you closed your eyes and drew the design drawings. If you open your eyes, I and Tang Heibo can still accept it. After all, the outrageous operation of the senior brother is not a day or two, Coco. You are closing your eyes. The key point is that you have marked all the dimensions. There is also the magic modified dual core guide. More than 100 thin ends are divided below. That's more than 100 thin ends. Tang Heibo was madly complaining in his heart, and it was really uncomfortable not to express his inner thoughts. But when he turned his head, he saw Xu Teng's concerned eyes. All right, it's because I have no culture. After all, I'm just an ordinary graduate student in Huaking. What can graduate students know? Anyway, the outrageous situation of the senior brother is not a day or two. Senior brother, I'm fine. A few short words, but Tang Heibo said it in an extremely difficult tone. Real. Xu Teng hesitated because Tang Heibo's eyes were a little less wide than before, and he had a more skeptical attitude towards life. Real. Well, everyone has their own secrets. Even the younger brother didn't want to say it and continue to complete magic change dual core guider. Judging from the golden blueprints unlocked by the black technology system, all the required material laboratories are available. The only trouble is the thin end of the 100 or so points. After all, these thin ends need to be connected to the starter module, and a longer thin end needs to be built on the automatic paralysis device. But is this a problem for Xu Teng after the development of Red Star Energy Liquid? It's not a problem, Xu. The real artisan? Teng Online, if you want to build it on the starter module, the magic modification device needs to be disassembled. Thinking of this, Xu Teng turned to ask Tang Heibo, junior brother, it's no problem for you to disassemble the magic modified device? The stunned Tang Heibo immediately responded, senior brother, just leave it to me, there is absolutely no problem. Before Xu Teng, when the modification was completed, something similar to a switch was deliberately set just to facilitate subsequent disassembly. Veteran craftsmen with a certain length of service will do this because there is no equipment that does not need maintenance. Be sure to leave something handy for later. Well, that's fine, call me when you're done. Turning his head, Xu Teng's attention turned to the magic modification dual core controller. Again, if more than 100 thin ends are to be branched out, it means that the grinding of the thin ends must be sharp and clear to ensure that each one can be built on the starter module, and the thin end on the automatic paralysis device must act as the main body and be a little harder than other parts. Xu Teng went through the process that he was about to go through in his mind. When I made sure to remember all the dimensions and details, I opened my eyes and picked up the cutting machine next to me without hesitation. Sizzle, the sudden sound startled Tang Heibo. Looking back, I saw Xu Teng wearing a white coat, wearing glasses to prevent glare. Hold a long thing in your left hand and operate the cutter in your right hand. Although the white coat is very loose, the bulging muscles can still be seen. The traces of fire lighted up the lines on Xu Teng's face more clearly. Tang Heibo couldn't help swallowing and said nothing. There is one word in his mind right now. He's so handsome. I ride a horse. Originally, senior brother Xu, who only thought of doing scientific research, was handsome, but he didn't expect that senior brother Jill, who as a craftsman, was even more handsome. Sorry, I seem to have said something dirty, but this Nima. Who can resist not swearing? Scientific research, thugs, suits, hooligans, gan, woohoo. I originally thought that my brother and I were only inferior in terms of scientific research, but I didn't find out until now. In terms of appearance and temperament, My brother and I are more different. Reader is more handsome. At this time, Xu Teng had all his spiritual power on the material in his hand because he found out. A progress bar suddenly appeared in front of his eyes. That's right, it comes out the moment the cutter cuts the material. Project, Magic Modified Dual Core Guide, Golden Drawing, Progress Bar. 3%, 5%, Intimate Remarks. If the first time you will get unexpected surprises, these things in front of them have never appeared then. Xu Teng is extra focused. Naturally, he wouldn't notice the change in Tang Heibo's expression in the distant sizzle. The progress bar starts to grow like crazy as the sparks of the cutter throb. Progress bar. 30%, 60%, Intimate Note. Do you know why I am growing like crazy? Because this is the first time I've seen someone use a cutter to cut a few centimeters of bifurcations. Seeing this sentence, Xu Teng was slightly stunned. No wonder, he had always felt something wrong before, but it's not until now. This horse, it's a cutter. What is the concept of a few centimeters? The thickness of a pencil lead as a result. This kind of progress level operation was operated by Xu Teng with a cutting machine. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I'm sorry. Even with the presence of keyboard warriors, I can't spray with this level of precision. Progress bar. 100%. Congratulations to the host on completion. Reward, a little energy point. The golden blueprint badge is permanently activated. Emblem, golden blueprint. Some people are super craftsmen on the surface, who use a cutting machine to create a precision device of a few centimeters, but they are actually serious researchers behind the scenes. Effect, when creating golden blueprint products, trigger 100% crit production efficiency. A series of reminder sounds from the system made Xu Teng stunned for a while, then ecstatic. Energy point? Another energy point. According to this calculation, you can obtain energy points by completing impossible things in other fields. In addition to the 3 energy points obtained before, we have now accumulated 4. The most important thing is not here. The key is to get another badge. The effect of the badge, Xu Teng has already experienced in a way. There's even a chance for miracles. It seems that with more and more energy points, the expansion direction of the black technology system is also wider and wider. When Xu Teng took off his glasses, he was stunned when he was eager to see the Magic Modified Dual Core Director because of what's in front of you. It's glowing. That's right. It's glowing. It's golden light. Is this the effect that the golden blueprint should have? Chapter 117 Serious Experiment. Before, Xu Teng also produced a golden drawing, which was a tokamak device used for magic modification, but this time things were different. When the Magic Modified Dual Core Guide was completed, a golden light appeared, and Xu Teng also saw new virtual information. Magic Change Dual Core Guide, Quality, Gold, Item, Ion Energy Shield Performance, meet the requirements of splitting the magnetic field and can further meet the requirements of the project. Project requirements. The black technology system has never been more useless, and these extra words made Xu Teng fall into new contemplation. Is there any problem? I didn't consider it at this time. Tang Heibo, who was watching the whole process, was numb at first. My brother used a cutting machine to cut more than 101 centimeter bifurcated materials, and I could force myself to convince myself and make myself understand. After all, it's not just a day or two that senior brother is outrageously strong, but now I still can't believe it because of this thing. It's glowing, or golden light. Am I really not dreaming? Why does something glow golden? Tang Heibo wanted to say something but stopped talking and wanted to finally decided to force myself to convince. Well, I don't have the knowledge. Tang Heibo, who had finally sorted out his mentality, stepped forward and said, Senior brother, well, it's time to start a new experiment. He wasn't quite sure about what he said, but the only thing that is certain is that senior brother entered a state of contemplation just now. Xu Teng, who was in deep thought, woke up, raised his head and responded, New experiment? Oh, yes, it's time to start a new experiment. Even the Magic Dual Core Guide has been made. The next step is to put the Magic Dual Core boot into it. It is not an easy task to connect more than 100 forks to more than 100 startup modules, and it is not easy to operate in a miniature magic modification device, at least for Tang Heibo. You want me to weld the Magic Modified Dual Core controller into it? I think you are embarrassing me, Fat Tiger. This operation is simply terrible from dawn to dark. It is a huge progress to be able to complete 10 welding ports. Thinking of this, I turned my head and looked at the person wearing white beside me. The senior brother in rubber gloves said secretly in his heart, if senior brother is on the field, one day should be fine. After all, in the previous project of blaster gun, senior brother also did this kind of thing. Oh, no, I'm not bold enough in one day. Half a day. No, it's good to be able to weld well before eating. Xu Teng didn't care about the change in Tang Heibo's expression because when he was all ready and picked up the magic modified dual-core guide, a voice sounded in his mind. Ding. Badge, the golden blueprint effect has been triggered. Effect, when creating golden blueprint products, trigger 100% crit production efficiency. Does this work too? Xu Teng didn't expect that. He just wore gloves normally, picked up the magic modified device and the magic modified dual-core guide, and instantly triggered the effect of the badge. Like, someone thought you were going to die, you said, look down on me. I can do it again. However, why does the badge trigger immediately? Isn't that the golden blueprint? And many more. Now these two things are indeed golden drawings. The magic modified device is built according to the golden blueprint, and the magic modified dual-core guide is also. So, when both devices are golden drawings, can the badge effect be triggered immediately? Xu Teng seemed to understand what the precondition for the badge to trigger was. It has entered the trigger effect time. As the system sounded this sound, the world in front of him began to change. The branches became clear in front of Xu Teng's eyes, and he could even see the cold light at the tip at the same time. The surrounding time passes, and the speed slows down many times. Xu Teng's attention was highly concentrated, and golden light began to appear in his eye sockets. Every operation is perfect welding. The sound of the system also rings in my mind from time to time. Intimate dip. This time the welding is quite perfect. Intimate dip. Keep it up. You can get unexpected surprises. In Tang Heibo's eyes, Xu Teng's technique was fast. That's right. It's the kind of rapidity that is about to create an afterimage in just a few minutes. Xu Craftsman Tang refreshed Tang Heibo's cognition again. He was standing beside me, but I couldn't even see senior brother Xu's actions. Is there really such a fast person in the world? The speed of being single for 20 years is nothing in front of senior brother Xu. Forget it. Forget it. I won't be surprised what senior brother does now. I've never seen a scene before. After figuring this out, Tang Heibo began to try to keep up with Xu Teng's operations with his eyes. Ding. The trigger effect time has ended at this second. Xu Teng also put down the device in his hand. Begin to exhale slowly. The badge effect is good, but it is easy to cause inattention compared with other emblems. The emblem triggered this time, golden blueprint, is definitely several times more effective. At the same time, Xu Teng's spirit was a little tired, as if he had entered the time of Sagittarius. It turns out that the effect of the badge is triggered based on mental power. Then if my mental power is increased, can I trigger several badges at the same time? Ding. The surprise has been issued. Reward, 4 energy points. 4 energy points? Xu Teng was stunned. This was the first time the system had given so many energy points. So, as the difficulty of the project increases, the energy points will double in addition to the previous ones. It is now 8 energy points. Turning his head, Xu Teng said to Tang Heibo, clear out a part of the open space in the laboratory and activate the magic modification device in 3 ways to test the distance formed by the shield. Huh? Oh, good. After hesitating for a while, Tang Heibo asked with concern, senior brother, you look a little tired. Do you want to rest first? As for why he hesitated, because from the beginning of the welding to the end, he has always stood by his brother's side. It is obvious that the senior brothers are doing serious experiments, but from the panting and slightly tired eyes, it is easy for people to misunderstand that their experiments are very serious only. Why did the experiment become so exhausted in such a short period of time? Tang Heibo was a little curious. Xu Teng waved his hand. It's fine, just go and tidy up. Okay. Even the senior brother didn't want to say it. The junior brother, who is the assistant, will naturally not ask any more questions. After closing his eyes and resting for 10 minutes, Xu Teng's mental power returned to its previous full state. Senior brother, the preparations are all done. Chapter 118, add-on in number 039, T. Understand. When it comes to dealing with core problems, Tang Heibo may not be able to solve the problem immediately, but if you talk about explaining the tasks that senior brother has completed, then I am too professional. Xu Teng walked in and took a look. The device of the magic modification is fixed on a hand frame, and there is a manipulator next to it for operation during the experiment. Safety always comes first when a new device is tested. It is always tested mechanically. The space a few meters in front was completely emptied according to the experimental requirements given by Xu Teng. According to theoretical calculations, the safety distance of a few meters is sufficient. The content of this experiment is mainly to test whether the shield can be formed, and the distance generated by the shield under the 3 activation methods. Senior brother, can we start now? Tang Heibo swallowed his saliva unconsciously. It is far more shocking to actually operate the experiment of new technology at close range than to watch it around. Xu Teng nodded. Then let me come this time. You do it. The quality of the magic modified dual-core guide is a golden blueprint fail. That is absolutely impossible. Not only that, but there are even unexpected effects. This is also the first time that Xu Teng has combined two products of golden drawings. Tang Heibo took a deep breath, calmed down his excitement, and slowly pressed the operation button of the manipulator. The manipulator slowly stretched out and clicked on the red button on the watch dial. The dial of the watch has three small buttons, red, yellow and blue. The order of the buttons is from left to right, and the corresponding modes are normal activation, activation of half of the activation modules, and activation of all activation modules. Buzzing, a slight chirping sounded, and the watch dial vibrated. The space in front was stirred like ripples on the water surface, and then a transparent screen began to slowly emerge. Really? Looking at the circular screen that was gradually being completed, Tang Heibo's breathing became heavy, and his face began to flush with excitement. Wow! Boom! With the last sound, the two clearly saw a circular screen not far in front of them. Looking at it from the angle here, I even see that the space outside is a little distorted. This is the formation of a strong magnetic field. Brother, we made it. Tang Heibo's voice trembled a little before participating in the blaster gun project. He paddled all the way, and many key issues were directly above on this time. The ion energy shield, he can understand the key general process for him. This is the first time he has truly contributed to a national level project. Well, I see. Listening to senior brother Xu's tone, the calmness is really terrifying. It seems that he has long known that he will succeed. You can go to the front to test the strength of the shield, because, before Xu Teng could finish speaking, he saw Tang Heibo rushing over excitedly, waving his fists dong 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 so hard. Is it that great? Is this really what I made? Oh no, is it my project? In fact, Tang Heibo has always had a small regret in his heart. That is, he failed to see the complete test experiment of the blaster. Now the ion energy shield has room for him to exert his strength. Of course he wouldn't let it go, so, bang bang dong. Xu Teng, I don't know why, but at this moment, I feel that my junior brother is so stupid. The meter next to it was always on. Xu Teng murmured. At a distance of 0.5 meters, the power of the shield's generation is not affected, which means that the attack of the younger brother did not work. Looking up, he looked at Tang Heibo, who was punching and kicking. Xu Teng lowered his head silently again. No, it's not that the attack of the younger brother didn't work, but he tried his best. But the ion energy shield didn't feel anything. The piece on the magic modification device that shows the energy value is always full. It means that the first stage can be maintained for a long time. That being the case, the next phase of testing can begin. So, Xu Teng pressed the button to interrupt the test. Boom. Tang Heibo, who was performing kung fu, didn't pay attention and fell. The eyes that raised his head were full of confusion. What happened just now? Cough. The first phase of testing can be concluded, and now the second phase of testing can begin. Hearing this, Tang Heibo rolled around with the carp and asked diligently, Brother, can I still operate it? Well, you come. Good. At this moment, he was as excited as if he had pulled out a miracle. A 200-pound fat man. Yellow button, the second activation method of the shield. Activate half of the activation module. As soon as I pressed the button, I heard a bang. Part of the air in front was blasted, and the space was distorted to a certain extent. Unlike last time, which took time to generate shields, this time it was completely instantaneous. It's similar to the theoretical calculation, because half of the startup modules are activated. The magnetic field formed is stronger, and the time is shorter. I don't know the activation distance. Xu Teng was suddenly stunned because he found out, the shield formed this time is very different from the last one. The main point is the color, gold. Tang Heibo turned his head hard and asked Xu Teng word by word, Senior brother, this, why is it golden? Is it dazzling? Items created with a cutter are instantly golden. I can understand. After all, the sun shines at different angles. The color of the shield is gold? Forget it. I really can't make it up. I really don't understand. Not to mention that Tang Heibo didn't expect it, nor did Xu Teng, the founder. There are particles in the air, and there is an effect called the Tyndall effect. The general principle is, when a beam of light passes through the colloid, a bright path in the colloid can be observed from the direction of the perpendicular incident light. The most typical phenomenon is, near sunset, you can see a bright passage in the air. This was the first thing that came to Xu Teng's mind because, according to the existing technology, the shield formed by the magnetic field has turned golden. This statement is the most reliable. The next second, he was immediately overthrown by Xu Teng. No, that's not right. Using Tyndall's phenomenon to explain that the shield is golden is really inexplicable. Just when the first button was pressed, this didn't happen. Now, The angle hasn't changed, the environment hasn't changed. The argument just activates half the startup module, so, this is the effect of the golden blueprint itself, but, what does that even mean? Chapter 119, with a lightsaber. Senior brother, do you want me to try again? Tang Heibo's eyes glowed with eagerness to try. What are you trying? Seeing his dancing, Xu Teng realized it. Well, be careful, brother, don't worry, I'm the most careful. Professional testing personnel, generally speaking, checking the strength of the shield will not let people rush forward to hammer it because it doesn't make sense, but the main purpose of this test is not the strength of the shield, but only to record the distance generated after the shield is activated and some other basic data. Bang bang bang. There was a persistent beating sound in the laboratory. Xu Teng possessed himself and looked at the data on the instrument table. Similar to the theoretical calculation, the distance is 0.8 meters, and the fluctuation of the energy value on the dial is larger than the first time, and it continues to decline. It means that the energy is expended and it doesn't last as long. The temperature of the dual-core director has not risen significantly. It seems that the golden drawings can indeed withstand greater power output. Originally from the accessories of the schematic diagram, the dual-core guide should be the most vulnerable accessory in the ion energy shield because the guide is just the shape of the hour hand. The overall thickness is also not high. At the same time, more than 100 terminals are branched out to connect with the starting module, which needs to withstand different currents. A little bit of force might break it, but now, it is the second activation method. 3 minutes later, the temperature curve is still calm as if no current was felt. Well, the data of the second experiment has been all recorded. From the value of the instrument response, it is very stable. The situation at the scene, except for the unexpected golden light, did not cause other reactions. Just when Xu Teng was about to perform the third activation method, his eyes jumped up when he saw the energy value. I just looked at it. Why did the energy value jump up? Wait, let me think about it. The generation of shields requires energy consumption, and the entire device only has the output of energy provided by the magically modified tokamak device. So, the curve of energy value will never jump up, except the device appears. What's the problem? No, there is a problem with the equipment. This option can also be excluded. The equipment that senior brother Yun applied for has been strictly inspected. Even if there is a problem with the equipment in all the laboratories in Huaking, there is no possibility of a problem here. Then there are only two possibilities. One is because the shield has turned golden. The other, Xu Teng raised his head and glanced at Tang Heibo, who was trying his best to output. It's because the shield is under attack. Judging from the drawings provided by Black Technology, the shield can deflect various forms of attacks. Now only part of the work has been completed, forming a magnetic field to allow the shield to manifest. The part of the deflector attack, the movement of charged particles on the surface of an object, which Xu Teng has not yet developed. So, Junior Brother Tang's attack was not fired by the shield to the deflected missile, but instead became a kind of energy absorbed by the shield, and then converted into energy value. This bold idea made Xu Teng excited. Judging from the situation on site, there is no energy input. The only possible energy input is Tang Heibo's diligent dong dong dong. The more he analyzes, the more Xu Teng thinks so. The role of the shield's golden rays of light has always been unclear, but under the inadvertent thud dong dong of the junior brother, he provided an explanation of new ideas. If it is like this, the difference between the first two experiments is whether to activate the startup module. The third part of the experiment is to activate all the startup modules. In this way, the golden light will become brighter and brighter, and the shield's effect of absorbing energy and converting it into storage will be more obvious. Xu Teng pressed the last button without hesitation. Next second, boom. Immediately afterwards, a screaming voice sounded. Oh, it hurts to death. Fuck. Before Tang Heibo finished speaking, the quintessence of the country immediately popped out because the shield in front of him is completely golden. Unlike the last time when only a part of it turned gold, this time it was all gold, which blinded Tang Heibo's eyes. Brother, this, before he could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Xu Teng's hurried voice. Junior brother, hurry up, you go directly. Superior, on what? Tang Heibo was stunned, and then look a little weird. Test how hard the shield is. Oh, it was this one. I thought my brother had some strange hobbies. Hearing this sentence, although Tang Heibo was a little puzzled, he still acted honestly. Say nothing else as long as my brother likes to watch. Isn't it just a performance? I have no problem with a big show day and night. Take a deep breath. Dong dong dong. This time the sound is heavier than the last time. You can tell from the voice that the younger brother is really performing very hard, and Xu Teng was staring at the energy meter, unwilling to miss a single detail. If I'm not wrong, the jump in energy value will be more obvious this time, and the time will be faster. The words have not been finished, and the digital meter that has been decreasing the energy value has been going down. The value suddenly increased a little. Hiss. Xu Teng's breathing became tense. Am I reading this wrong? No. Do it again. It may just be an accident. As a pragmatic researcher, a rise in data will not be used as a judging criterion because this is not illustrative, but just thought of this. The data jumped up again. For the data that has been falling, the amplitude is small, but it is particularly obvious immediately after. Begin to beat frequently. This is not an illusion, it is true. Xu Teng suddenly raised his head and looked at Tang Heibo, who was showing his teeth and claws. The amount of energy a fist can produce is limited, but it still rises, which shows that the efficiency of shield energy conversion is terribly high. If you change it to another form, wouldn't the shield be able to recharge at the same time as the energy is consumed? The more you hit me, the stronger I am. Depending on the situation at the scene, the gunpowder test can be ruled out first. If exclude a test like gunpowder, then what is there to test? Chair, table? No, wait. Pen fun library. At this point, the most appropriate weapon came to his mind, the lightsaber. That's right, it's a lightsaber. In the distance, Tang Heibo also noticed the change in Xu Teng's expression and stopped the movement in his hand. Did I do something wrong? Just when Tang Heibo was thinking about it, Xu Teng took out his mobile phone and dialed senior brother Yun's phone number. Chapter 120 ISNN number 039, This really a magic weapon? Beep. As soon as the phone rang, Yun Cheng answered it in seconds. Although I can't provide any help to my juniors in terms of scientific research, I have to talk about logistics. Can someone be more professional than my senior brother Yun? Not at all. Pen Fun Library. Junior brother, is there any trouble with the project? Before he could finish speaking, Yun Cheng stopped. It feels weird if for other people, the call is not because of some financial problem, or there is some problem, but my junior, it seems that every time I make a call, it is because the experiment has been successful in stages, and I need to apply for the next materials. Trouble? Xu Teng considered the sentence for a while, and judging from the situation at the scene, there was indeed trouble. Senior brother, you are right, there is indeed some trouble. Huh? What? Yun Cheng suddenly became interested. Since he knew junior brother Xu, he had never heard such a sentence in his mouth unexpectedly. My junior brother also had such a day. This is a normal researcher. Tell me carefully, what kind of trouble is bothering junior brother? Well, I need a lightsaber as a test subject. Oh, so it's the lightsaber. Yun Cheng was stunned for a moment and many more. What are the words of a tiger and a wolf? That junior brother said. Lightsaber. This horse riding is called a little trouble. And what are the words used? Testing object. As a project that the junior brothers are working on. Yun Cheng is aware of it. Ion energy shield. It was the materials that he personally checked and calculated, and it didn't take long. The day before yesterday, the younger brother solved the energy problem required by the shield. So today, now I asked him to use a lightsaber as a test object, which means that the shield was successful. I'm sorry, is this the problem encountered by the brothers and sisters? I was so stupid, and naively thought that my junior fellows were really stumped by some scientific research problem. Turn out to be, it was the application question for the test subjects he needed. Can this be called a problem? Normal scientific researchers call this kind of application object problem. That there is some trouble in scientific research. Sure enough, junior brother is omnipotent. In other words, the world. Is there really a problem that neither teacher nor brother can solve? No. Although Yun Cheng is a former scientific researcher but adhering to the pragmatic spirit, he couldn't help but ask in a questioning tone, junior brother, this is the troublesome problem you are facing now? That is to say, you need a lightsaber as a test object. Yes. Facing Yun Cheng's question, Xu Teng's expression was a little strange. There is no lightsaber in the lab, and I need a lightsaber as a test subject. Isn't that the problem I can't solve? Yun Cheng, you are right, I am speechless. Junior brother's shield, although he almost guessed the result, Yun Cheng still couldn't help but ask. When a lot of things happen, everyone has a result in their hearts, and what's worse is just a definite answer. It's not bad, and it has finally achieved a stage success. This relieved tone made Yun Cheng's facial expression twitch fiercely. Not bad, junior brother, your shield experiment has only been carried out for 2 days. With such a major result in 2 days, can it only be considered a good thing, if other researchers know your inner thoughts? I'm afraid it's not to doubt your life every minute. Am I really a full-time researcher? It seems that no matter how I look at it, I can be regarded as a part-time staff working in scientific research while herding cattle. Do you want to test the hardness of the shield? Although using a lightsaber to test the hardness of the shield is an alternative idea, but it's barely a passable test. Not only that, what other use could that be? This sentence of the younger brother successfully attracted Yun Sheng's attention, and his ears were pricked up. Lightsaber, blaster gun. Every project done by junior and junior high school students is beyond the level of existing scientific and technological cognition. Does the shield have other uses besides being very hard? Kind of curious. I just found out through the value of the energy test instrument. When the shield is attacked, it can convert the damage into energy storage to a certain extent. Simply put, when the shield enters the second gear activation mode, the generated golden shield converts the energy into its own energy. At this stage, we first use the attack other than gunpowder as the test object, so we need to use a lightsaber. Yun Sheng, whose brain was down, inadvertently filtered out the words behind Xu Teng. What? You said the shield is still golden. I remember you told me that the condition of the shield is due to the generation of the magnetic field, and also, the most outrageous is not here but here is, the golden shield can absorb damage and convert it into its own energy storage. The harder you hit me, the more excited I get. Not only the more excited I am, the stronger I am, the less you can break the shield. I really didn't hear about some magical weapon and many more. Lightsaber and blaster gun are not weapons that can be made by existing scientific and technological knowledge. That seems to be fine. Senior brother, are you still listening? Oh, I'm here. Yun Sheng took a deep breath, adjusted his emotions, and said enthusiastically, Junior brother, don't worry, I will apply with the teacher now. Trouble, brother, no trouble. Junior brother is too polite. However, if junior brother wants to do the lightsaber test, Xu Teng's laboratory should not be used as the test venue. It is estimated that it will trouble the junior brother to go out again. The laboratory in the school, after all, has various restrictions. For example, venue, crowd, electricity. The lightsaber excitation and the collision of the ion energy shield will definitely cause a lot of movement. It is unlikely to be tested in the Xu Teng laboratory, and Xu Teng also knew very well that the reason he stayed in Xu Teng lab was to save time. Now the test has entered a new stage, and the laboratory over there can arrange everything on the Wei Pen Fun library naturally. He will not be restricted to staying in the Xu Teng laboratory. Well, I see. I'll trouble senior brother to make arrangements. No trouble. Yun Sheng, who hung up the phone, danced and took a deep breath to calm himself down. The golden shield that can absorb energy. The teacher must have never heard of it in this life, so Yun Sheng took out the phone, found the teacher's number and dialed it. Beep. Before the voice could finish, Su Wei picked it up in seconds and hurriedly asked, Come on, is there a breakthrough in Xiao Su's experiment? Chapter 121 and number 039, am familiar. Listen to this tone of voice, it hurts. Forget it. After all, what can be wrong with a teacher? He is just a person who cherishes talents. It's normal for a former researcher like me to not be loved. Yun Sheng sorted out his emotions and said in a calm tone as possible, Teacher, junior brother Su's experiment has made a breakthrough. As soon as he finished speaking, he heard a burst of laughter coming from the other side. Haha, it really is my student. I knew that Xiao Su must be a good person. Good is good, but, teacher, it's just the two of us now, so you don't need to keep repeating the phrase I am a student. Who are the two of us? Don't I know if you can read those blueprints? Tell me, does Xiao Su need the approval of materials again? Or does he need a new test site? Although on the surface, Su Wei has always emphasized the word student, but it was clear in his heart, to guide Xu Teng on this matter, when he was working on the blaster gun project, he could no longer do it. Not to mention the ion energy shield at the moment. Teacher, who said that you must be better than your students? Being able to provide venues and materials at the right time can also be regarded as an important event. There is a real need for a testing ground. Not only that, but a special thing. Yun Sheng deliberately sold a pass. Something special? You say, as long as I can do it. Before Su Wei could finish speaking, Yun Sheng interrupted the casting directly. Lightsaber. Oh, no, what did you say? Su Wei suspected that he had heard it wrong. If it's something else, it's really easy to say, a piece of paper, and there is a greeting on it for Xu Teng's project. It will always be the fastest speed of Longo, but lightsabers, really not. There is only one arsenal in Longo that can produce independently. and the production efficiency is still 1 per month. The lightsabers produced are said to be assigned to special units. They are doing special training somewhere in the Dragon Country. Even Xu Wei can't apply for a lightsaber without a legitimate reason. The point isn't here. It's why Xu Teng used a lightsaber as a test subject ion energy shield. He can't understand those schematics, however, those generalizations written in words, he still recognizes it. Now, for example, the first rule is, the charged particles covering the surface deflect any form of attack, means of attack, from physical shells to directional energy flow. That doesn't mean shields can deflect thermal weapon attacks. The goal of the test is not just for all kinds of firearms, even blasters can be used as test targets. So this means that the experiment is not fully completed yet. No wonder Yuncheng would say that there is a breakthrough, not the completion of the experiment. Then, did Xiao Su say why he used the lightsaber as the test object? When Xu Wei asked this sentence, Yuncheng, who was holding the mobile phone, couldn't help raising his eyebrows. Yo, teacher, you finally started to cheer me up, said, what are you talking about? Things suddenly became hopeful. Yuncheng took a deep breath and said quickly, Junior brother Xu said that his shield can be activated in 3 ways. When activated in the second way, the shield will turn golden, and the golden shield is able to convert the damage it withstands into the required energy and store it. So, Junior brother Xu needs to apply for a lightsaber as the first test subject, under this series of speech speeds. Xu Wei's head was a little dazed. What the hell? Are the shields golden? Can energy be absorbed, converted and stored? The second activation method is enough. The third activation method is more powerful. Am I living in a TV show? Is there really such a fantastic weapon in this world? Hearing the silence on the other side, Yuncheng felt a little smug in his heart. Teacher, you haven't heard of this thing? Haha, I knew it. Well, the old man, you have to serve the old. I believe that a young man like Junior brother Xu can build a spaceship and leave the Milky Way in the future. Calm down. Xu Wei took a deep breath and calmed down. He replied, I understand. I will arrange someone to pick you up later. Tell Xiao Su that if you use a lightsaber this time, you will go to farther place. Okay, teacher. I beat. Before he could finish speaking, a blind tone came from the phone. Yuncheng, at first, you called someone a dear student. Later, you started to often say, I am tired from working on the project. I have to rest now. In front of you, I can't even finish a sentence. In a laboratory and working at this time, Tang Heibo was completely stupid. What did I hear my brother say just now? He said, the second activation method, after the shield turns golden, it can absorb energy, convert it into new energy and store it. So, once the shield is on, hit me fast. The more you hit me, the more energy you have. This is only the second activation method. There is a third. Isn't the efficiency of energy conversion faster? Is this a card bug? No. If it exceeds the strength of the shield, it will break in an instant. No wonder, my brother just asked me to perform. And there is another key point, lightsabers. That's right, my brother applied for a lightsaber as a test subject and many more. Why is there a lightsaber? Tang Heibo reacted when he came into contact with his senior brother. The most impressive thing was that he followed the project of blaster gun. Although there is no final experiment, it is still in the experimental project. Later, my brother came back then began the project of the ion energy shield. That lightsaber, did your brother do it before? Ward OMG, Tang Heibo felt that he had discovered a blind spot. No wonder the name of the senior brother does not appear on the normal admission list. He remembered that an account on a question and answer site had asked a question earlier. Excuse me, I made a lightsaber, can I protect it? At that time, he replied, what are you talking about, my dear academician? Take a look now. The confused thoughts suddenly became enlightened again. It turned out that it was my brother who applied for help that time, and it's true, I'm so stupid. Really, I never thought that there are so many questions and answers on the internet, which seem to be joking, but they are actually asking with a real situation. Thinking of this, Tang Heibo's eyes dimmed. The lightsaber must be a top secret item, just like the blaster. The rest is not something you can participate in. I understand. Isn't it that the experimental team was disbanded on the same day? I'm already familiar with it. Then, Tang Heibo walked in front of Xu Teng dejectedly and said, Senior brother, I'm leaving. Walk? Xu Teng looked up and asked inexplicably, where are you going? Chapter 122 at in number 039, so nice to have you. Although he didn't want to face it, Tang Heibo still answered seriously, Senior brother, it is not the object of applying for a lightsaber as an experiment. I think the lightsaber must be the same level of confidentiality as the blaster, and the ion energy shield. Having said that, Xu Teng understood. So, Do you think you are ineligible to continue the experiment? Well, it's just okay, I understand. The arrangement above, Tang Heibo deliberately cheered up. As long as the senior brother comes back next time and contacts me again, I will be satisfied. Before he could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Xu Teng. You signed a non-disclosure agreement. This time you are involved in the whole process. A few short words made Tang Heibo stunned full participation. Really? Really? Xu Teng nodded. Did the surprise come so quickly? Tang Heibo couldn't believe it. If someone else said this to himself, Tang Heibo would be suspicious. You are not a few years older than me, so you have any right to speak, but in front of them is the chief designer and manufacturer of the blaster gun and the ion energy shield. One person can be worth an entire R&D team. Pen Fund Library for Xu Teng. He just doesn't have an official title. As soon as he opened his mouth to speak, everyone would lean over to listen, even Dean Yunxing and academician Su Wei. Thank you, brother. I will work hard, I promise. And for graduate students, there are not many options. There are roughly two routes. One is, keep reading. The other is, go to society and become a glorious migrant worker. If you read on, you will need to look at the scientific research results of the graduate students during this period. Doing research is not an easy task. It can be roughly divided into, have a correct experimental idea, meet a reliable mentor, so that in the shortest time, you can come up with valuable scientific research papers. Every journal has a different impact factor. If it can be published as a first work in a higher journal, it can better reflect its own value and increase its competitiveness. If, when you are a graduate student, you can participate in top secret projects as a team, even if you are pouring tea and water for the boss, many people are willing. But this is my brother. He would never ask anyone to do that as long as you have the thirst for knowledge. No matter what you ask, he will answer patiently. And just now, Xu Teng said this sentence, participate in the whole project. To a certain extent, it has affected Tang Heibo's academic journey in the future. If you have this resume, get a PhD, and pass the theoretical test, who doesn't want it? This is also the reason why Tang Heibo spoke nonsense directly. It's okay, I know, you just need to rest. Although Xu Teng is most concerned about scientific research, it does not mean that he does not pay attention to the state of the people around him. In the blaster gun project, Tang Heibo had a salted fish mentality. In this energy ion shield project, he obviously found that the mentality of his junior and junior brothers has changed. It's the kind, willing to devote one's life to scientific research. It turned out to be like this. Then, help the junior brother. It is not a big deal. What's more, it can affect the people around and make them better in itself. It is something that Xu Teng is looking forward to. Long Guo was able to go through those difficult times, not by one person, but by a group of selfless dedication and willingness to endure loneliness. Drop, drop, drop. The sound of verifying fingerprints came from the door of the laboratory. The next second, the door was slammed open. Yunxing, panting heavily, appeared in front of the two of them. After receiving the call, Yunxing rushed over, and it is better to convey some news in person. Junior brother, everything is arranged. Someone will come to pick you up later. The troops equipped with lightsabers are in the rainforest area, so you're going to be a little more remote. Xu Teng took out a bottle of water beside him and said, I'm sorry, senior brother, drink some water. Senior brother, you're welcome. The more time he spends with Xu Teng, the more Yunxing discovers common flaws of past geniuses, such as arrogance, maverick. None of this would happen to junior brother Xu. On the contrary, the junior and senior teachers are always so humble, polite, and the kind that is engraved in their bones. After taking over the water tons, Yunxing looked away, and suddenly saw Tang Heibo sitting in the corner. How could there be an outsider here? So I accidentally choked on the water. Tang Heibo, who signed a confidentiality agreement, can participate in this project, but it does not mean that he can continue to participate in the experiment in the unit where the lightsaber is located. Cough, cough, cough. Tang Heibo and Xu Teng hurried forward and asked with concern, Senior brother Yun, President, are you alright? Choking on water is fine, but why are you still here? Seeing Yunxing's confused eyes, Xu Teng explained, Junior brother Tang is also a participant in this project. For the next experiment, I need an assistant. I see. Yunxing understands. This is junior brother Xu intending to cultivate a talent. This is of course a good thing. If Xu Teng came forward, it would not be difficult for Tang Heibo, who signed a non-disclosure agreement, to do the experiment. After all, the initiator and chief designer of the project are both Xu Shidi, alone polite and modest. This time there is one more thought for the successors of Long Guo's scientific research, because scientific research is a powerful country. It has never been a matter of one person. It is a story in which one person takes the lead and a group of people pays behind such. Junior brother Su, can you not love it? Yunsheng's eyes flashed with a strange look. If there were people like junior brother Su in the team back then. Today, I am afraid that I will also wear a white coat, and I will never take it off for the rest of my life. Tang Heibo looked at the silent Yunsheng with a nervous expression. Still can't do it. He watched Yunsheng come forward and patted Tang Heibo on the shoulder. You must do your best, because peace is not permanent. The Dragon Kingdom was beaten too hard in the past. At that time, the most tragic Sichuan army, only one of 10 people came back. The future of Long Kingdom scientific research lies with you. Tang Heibo was stunned, then reacted immediately. His eyes firmly said, President Yun, rest assured, I, Tang Heibo, will never take off my white coat in this life. Looking at those firm eyes, Yunsheng murmured, okay, okay, boom boom boom. The sound of the engine sounded above, and Yunsheng said, the person who will pick you up is here. The open door was filled with cold wind, blowing Xu Teng's white lab coat flying, turning sideways. The bright light of the lab hit Xu Teng's face. Junior brother Tang, let's go. Hey, so good. Tang Heibo followed Xu Teng excitedly. This was the first time he had truly participated in a top-secret project, and he was affirmed by Xu Teng and Yunsheng, who was standing in the laboratory, watched the two of them go from the light to the dark without hesitation, and his face was full of relief. How can the years be quiet? It's just that someone is carrying the load for you. If someone chooses entertainment, naturally there will be people like Xu Teng and Tang Heibo who devote their lives to scientific research. Longo, it's good to have you. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123. If it is destined to be unknown, so what? At this time, everyone in a mysterious base in a mountainous area on the other side was being called on urgently. A minute ago, the order from the top was passed directly to the top leader of the base, Li Yonghao, to fully cooperate with Xu Teng's research work and meet all the needs of Xu Teng's research. If it was someone else, Li Yonghao said he didn't understand because they are special units using lightsabers. The general scientific research team level is not as high as them, but when he saw a name, Xu Teng, he understood this one is the initiator of the lightsaber and blaster gun project, and is known as the leader of the future scientific research of Long Kingdom, especially the scientific research talents that the academicians have competed for many times. I heard that this person is very young and very creative, and even a big man like Li Rongsheng couldn't help but praise the scientific research project he initiated, and as the first owners of the lightsaber, they are full of reverence for this kind of talent dedicated to the country. I have always wanted to find an opportunity to thank Xu Teng in person. Chief, it's so late. Is there anything to announce by calling us for an emergency gathering? As the captain of the lightsaber team, Yuan Farron couldn't help but ask when he saw that Li Yonghao on the stage had not spoken. Yes, Chief, we still have to train. Chief, give us some more time. The plan using the lightsaber as a tactic will soon succeed. Yes, we have reached the final stage. Shortly after the lightsaber was successfully manufactured, the executives collectively approved a new special unit to develop new tactics with the lightsaber as the core. This kind of troops is specially trained to simulate cutting off important strategic cores. Simply put, because of the relative stealth and power of lightsabers, their squad is trained to the standards of beheading operations. All four are proud to be selected for the lightsaber squad. After all, this weapon only existed in science fiction before, and now it is a reality that they hold in their hands. It's like a dream. The only downside, the four of them didn't meet a legendary Xu Teng. There is no chance to thank him personally. Li Yonghao turned to look at them and said with a smile, I asked you to come and gather this time because there are more important things for you to do. More important things? The four are a little confused. Come on, there are more important things than developing lightsaber tactics. No, wait, it's possible if a new weapon test comes out. Yuan Farron's mind flashed, and suddenly thought of someone's name. Then he blurted out, Chief, you said that person is coming to our base. That person? Who? The other three in the squad turned their heads and looked at the captain with a puzzled look. What do you know? Obviously we haven't got any information. Looking at the bewildered eyes of the three, Yuan Farron sighed and pointed to the inactive lightsaber on his body. If the lightsaber maker Xu Teng came here, tactics really don't matter. The three of them were stunned. Lightsaber maker, Xu Teng, is he really coming? He turned his head and asked breathlessly, Chief, Captain really didn't guess wrong. Is he really coming? Li Yonghao was stunned for a moment, and sure enough, someone who can become a captain and develop new tactics with lightsabers as the core has a really flexible mind. He obviously didn't say anything. Which can be inferred. Li Yonghao smiled. That's right, Xu Teng is coming, and he will be there soon. I heard that he is here with a new experimental project. Really come, and with a new experimental project. How long has it been? It was just over a month ago that I heard that he had completed the development of a new weapon, the blaster. That's a weapon stronger than a lightsaber. So, this time, is it something more powerful than a blaster? In addition to the lightsaber team, various members of the other bases, and even the logistical cooking team's eyes lit up properly. Scientific research genius. At this moment, a rumbling sound came from the distant sky. Li Yonghao looked up and said with a smile on his face, listen, they will be here soon. This is the first time that Tang Hebo has taken a helicopter in his life. More crucially, this is also the first time he has discovered that the pilots in the army are very good at drifting, so great that he even wanted to ask, can your coach let me learn this technique too? Boom, the cabin door was pulled open. You pay attention to safety. Okay. When Tang Hebo followed Xu Teng walked out, he glanced back inadvertently. It was found that the pilot gave the most standard salute to Xu Teng's back, obviously only the most basic actions. At this moment, something deepest in Tang Hebo's heart was ignited. If dedicated to scientific research in this life, it is destined to be unknown. So what, if the country is prosperous? I am willing to throw my head and shed blood. Tang Hebo silently turned around and returned the salute. The two of them had just walked a few steps when 5 people greeted them on the opposite side. The head is the one with firm eyes, wearing military uniforms, and wearing medals all over his body. The other 4 followed closely behind with excited expressions. Military uniforms, medals. This is usually the case on important occasions. This means, for everyone at the base, they value the arrival of Xu Teng very much. Senior brother's status is that high, and judging from those medals, the leader's status is very high. Xiao Su, my name is Li Yonghao. I'm the person in charge of the base. You can call me Uncle Li. It's so late, and you have to travel thousands of kilometers. It's hard work. Li Yonghao is very enthusiastic. As rumored, Xu Teng is very young. For ordinary researchers, this age is the beginning of a scientific research career, but for Xu Teng, it has reached a height that ordinary people can't reach. No trouble, this is what we should do. For researchers, time is the most precious, Xu Teng responded. Look, humble indeed. Then Xu Teng asked again, is the lightsaber squad here? With Xu Teng's authority, he knows that there is now a team developing new tactics with lightsabers as the core, and the ion energy shield needs to use lightsabers. So, instead of beating around the bush, I asked directly, here I am. Li Yonghao turned around to let the 4 behind him. The 4 people behind were amazed the whole time. Young, humble, promising, and devoted themselves to scientific research. Such a pure scientific researcher, who would not respect him from the bottom of his heart. Yuan Farron suddenly shouted, let's stand upright, brush. The 4 of them lean on their feet and straighten their waists. Salute, salute. He raised his hand and gave Xu Teng the most standard salute. Looking at the excited eyes of the 4, Xu Teng was stunned for a moment. And then he understood. He also leaned on his feet, straightened his waist, and returned a standard salute. Chapter 124. Pointing out the person who is like a lamp. Just when everyone was about to speak, there was a clear voice, goo goo goo. Everyone present looked back at Tang Hebo, who blushed and said, I haven't eaten yet, I'm hungry. Xu Teng has improved his physical fitness because of drinking Red Star energy liquid. The ability to resist hunger has become much stronger as an ordinary person. Tang Hebo really couldn't control it after traveling thousands of kilometers. Li Yonghao smiled and said, it's okay, the cooking class has prepared a lot of food for you. Lightsaber squad. Closed training is the secret force of the Dragon Kingdom. Physical energy consumption is huge, and the logistics as an important guarantee will naturally be very powerful. The bowls of food were brought up, and each bowl was constantly steaming out. Cumin, lamb, red and green peppers are used to garnish dishes, sprinkled with white sesame seeds, and the aroma of sesame oil blows. Spicy beef skewers. Beef is skewered with toothpicks, drizzled with chili oil, sprinkled with chopped green onion. Braised pork. Large chunks of fat and thin meat that are fried to the point of non-stop oozing oil, served with a rich soup base. Just watching from the side, Tang Hebo kept gulping to talk about the difference between the army canteen and the canteen outside, that is, the staff here, whether it is an uncle or aunt, will never shake their hands. The portion is very real. I'm afraid you won't be able to eat enough, and the craftsmanship is fine. Seeing the two of them, Li Yonghao greeted, eat quickly, don't be restrained. Doing scientific research is also very mind-blowing. If you don't make good supplements, it's my responsibility as the person in charge. Tang Heibo turned his head and glanced at Xu Teng, who nodded lightly. Then, he was not polite anymore while eating. Li Yonghao said to Xu Teng, I won't do the experiment tonight. You must be tired from the long journey. Take a good rest, and it's not too late to do the experiment tomorrow. Xu Teng nodded lightly. This was originally his idea, because he still had to deduce some experimental details. Only Tang Heibo agreed vaguely. After the meal, Li Yonghao personally led the two to the arranged dormitory. Both of them are separate rooms, one bedroom, one living room and one bathroom, and all kinds of stationery are available. It's just that Xu Teng is slightly bigger room. You have a good rest. Adequate rest time is conducive to clear thinking, and it is also an important thing for scientific research. Trouble, Uncle Li? No trouble, no trouble. After closing the door, Xu Teng did not rest immediately and fell into a state of thinking. The generation of the ion energy shield is based on the magical modification of the device to provide a magnetic field. Under the action of the dual-core guide, the magnetic field is converted into different properties, and then let the shield entity appear, to achieve the effect of resisting the attack. And lightsaber activation has an important property in it. It confines the magnetic field. So, this test, to a certain extent, can also be understood as the collision of the magnetic fields of the two. At this point, an obvious problem arises. It's all the action of the magnetic field, so will they affect each other? As soon as this idea came up, it was rejected by Xu Teng. Both are their own magnetic fields, and there is no such problem from theoretical calculations. Moreover, the strength of the golden drawings is far beyond Xu Teng's imagination. Those problems will not be a problem with the addition of the two golden blueprint products. In particular, there is also the existence of the magically modified automatic paralysis device. Wait tomorrow to see if the shield can convert the energy of the lightsaber as expected. Get up and leave the table full of formulas. Xu Teng turned off the lights and went to sleep not far from the house. At this time Yuan Farron turned his head and said to the team members, you have all seen it. He is sleeping. You should go to bed too. It's cold. Tang Yuan curled his lips in dissatisfaction and said, in terms of age, Captain, you are a little older. You taught me to do things like being on duty. You go to bed. Liu Boran silently raised his head and nodded in affirmation. The youngest Wang Doyu tightened his military uniform and expressed his actions. No matter what you say, I will not listen. Li Yonghao looked at everything in front of him with a look of relief. In this group of people who give silently, there will always be one person who guides others like a beacon. Drop, drop, drop. As soon as the bell rang, Xu Teng woke up while washing. I planned the process of today's experiment in my mind. Today's experimental process: first fix the shield, and after turning it on, let the team members activate the lightsaber on theta output. From the data of the instrument response, is it really able to convert energy? Because the first element of the experiment is to ensure the safety of the experiment and prevent the testers from being harmed. After all three activation methods are tested, we will enter a new experimental method. One of them turned on the ion energy shield, and the other one activated the lightsaber. In actual combat, it was tested whether the shield was always strong when the energy value is not exhausted. Well, the experimental process using the lightsaber as the test object is the above. When Xu Teng opened the door, he happened to see Tang Heibo standing in front of the door and greeting him with a smile. Pen Fun Library Senior Brother, good morning. You? Why are you so early? Xu Teng was stunned for a while and asked, it's not that I didn't sleep well last night. Didn't sleep well. Involuntarily, the picture from last night appeared in my mind. Tang Heibo was too hungry, and at the same time, because the cooking class was so good, he started cooking directly with the pot. The surrounding players not only did not cast ridicule glances, on the contrary, they watched with a kind of approval, because this is the family, eat at the same rhythm. So, Xu Teng asked with a complicated expression, I eat too much? Swish. Tang Heibo's face turned red. How can this is just a trivial reason. There is another reason. Facing Xu Teng's puzzled eyes, Tang Heibo said, this is the first time I have come to a base with a high level of secrecy to participate in a project. I was so excited that I couldn't sleep. I see. Xu Teng doubted. He stepped forward and patted Tang Heibo on the shoulder, comforting him. It's okay. As long as you study hard, you will have many opportunities to participate in this kind of project in the future. Tang Heibo was stunned for a moment. And then he was overjoyed. Brother, is this implying, brother, this must be a hint, as a person who can embark on the road of scientific research. It is the most gratifying thing to get the blessing of his senior brother. I will definitely become a reliable assistant in your project in the future, Teng Hebo said secretly in his heart. Chapter 125. Taking people as a mirror. You can understand the pros and cons. From the accommodation area to the cafeteria, Xu Teng met a lot of people along the way, whether it's a researcher in a white coat or a soldier in a military uniform. They will stop and say hello to Xu Teng, and Xu Teng will respond enthusiastically. To be honest, Teng Hebo, who looks so tall, really didn't know that senior brother Xu was so popular outside. Obviously, many people are seeing their senior brothers for the first time, but they behave like good friends who have been friends for decades. A reason for fame? No, not right. Senior brother Xu is respected by everyone because of his scientific research level. Every weapon project is really beneficial and can point the way for Long Kingdom. The key is that senior brother Xu's quality has moved one academician after another. That's why he is respected by others. Teng Hebo took a deep breath and said, taking history as a mirror, you can know the rise and fall. Taking people as a mirror, you can clearly understand the gains and losses. The ancients did not deceive me. There was a noisy scene in the cafeteria. The moment Xu Teng came in, everyone stood up silently and saluted Xu Teng. This special base in the Rhine forest exists to develop tactics unique to lightsabers. To put it simply, without the lightsaber, this mysterious group of troops would not exist, and everyone knows that the creator of the lightsaber is the young man in front of him. If it weren't for him, can there be a lightsaber in real life? Excuse me, please wait 10 years or decades. So, for this group, Xu Teng deserves to stand up and salute when they meet for the first time. Senior brother, Teng Hebo, who had never seen the world, was stunned. Compared with him, Xu Teng's reaction was much calmer. Lean on your feet, straighten your back, and return the standard salute, because last time, in the anti-aircraft gun test base, Xu Teng also enjoyed such treatment. Even the day after the blaster project was finally completed, everyone at the base spontaneously sent Xu Teng to the helicopter. The people who were queuing up for the food in front of them also offered their seats when they saw Xu Teng. Xiao Su, come, thank you. Hey, what are you and I polite? It's as it should be, the man replied quickly. At the same time, he secretly said in his heart, it's just like what Captain Yuan said, polite and handsome. With such a person to lead the new generation of Longbo's scientific research, isn't it a matter of course to strengthen the country's strength? The people in the cooking class are also very enthusiastic, and I saw them last night, especially for the back. Teng Hebo was even more impressed. This person can eat and take a pot, and you can handle it. The way is very military. A large Zaya Longbao, a cup of soy milk, and 2 tea eggs. Good. Xu Teng took the prepared breakfast and found a place to sit. There are 10 small steamed buns in the large steamer. The skin of the buns is crystal clear and there is not a drop of oil flowing out from the bottom, which shows that the master of steaming buns is very skilled. All the ingredients are locked in the buns. Picking one up, Xu Teng bit the skin lightly, and the juice instantly poured out and splashed in his mouth. So fragrant, soft and tender meat. Swallowing the hot and thick juice, the mouth is full of fragrance. Pick up the next one without hesitation. This one turned out to be seafood. Shrimp skin handling is also in place. No fishy smell. Xu Teng ate slowly, took a mouthful of rich soy milk, and cracked open the shell of the steaming tea egg. The opposite Teng Hebo didn't even raise his head. Compared with him, Xu Teng's weight was much less at this time. The voices of other people's discussions were heard in my ears. A while ago, I was on vacation. When I went back, a brother told me that Xiao Su completed the test of a new type of weapon in their anti-aircraft gun test site. New weapon test. The others were stunned. Different from the topics that women talk about, the favorite things for these guys in the army will always be tanks and cannons, steel torrent or something like that. The most anticipated will always be new weapons, and as long as it can be related to Xu Teng's project, that's more expected. Yes, that's right. The other person deliberately didn't say anything about the taste, and his face was full of what you meant by begging me first, and I'll tell you later. The other took a sip of the porridge unhurriedly. Seemingly unintentionally, I seem to remember that someone borrowed a few thousand yuan last month and agreed to pay it back a few days ago. The proud look immediately faded, and he whispered, my brother told me that the name of the project is Blaster. Blaster? This reputation is violent. That's naturally violent. The speaker held his head high and his face proud. Let me tell you, the best thing about this gun is that it doesn't need physical projectiles. What? What did you say? Someone was stunned. Can the current firearms not need physical projectiles? Is that really a gun? Or even a gun? Will it be powerful? That's right, you don't need a physical projectile. Looking at the group of startled teammates around, the man couldn't help but say in his heart, "Kid, a group of ignorant people. If I talk to you about a test situation later, then the buns in your mouth will fall out." See everyone's faces. "I don't understand, but I'm shocked," he continued. "I heard that it uses an explosive gas, blaster gun gas, you know." "I don't need to say that, no, I do not know." The team members who borrowed the money were righteous, and the expressions on their faces were full. "I need you to explain the meaning to me clearly." "Just, oops, that's not the point. The point is that the blaster has 3 energy scales and can adapt to combat in any extreme weather. At the time of the test, it was still tested in the freezer." The team members succeeded in bluffing and shocked everyone. "Freezer test? This Nima is more or less outrageous." The most exaggerated point is that when the 3rd energy scale test was performed, a 15-meter hole was directly blasted out of the anti-aircraft gun test site. "That's right, you heard it right, it's a 15-meter hole." Li Rongshen, academician Li, have you heard of it? He personally confirmed that the maximum power of a blaster can be regarded as invincible below a missile, invincible below missiles, or a weapon boss. "What?" academician Li said. "Are you telling me it's a gun?" With a click, the speaker turned to look. There was a half-eaten bun on the next table, and the man had a big mouthful. "It works well," he nodded. "Then, the gun, haha, I guess you're talking about security." The other person nodded, not expecting to be successfully predicted. "Don't worry, it's absolutely safe. Because the 15-meter hole was made out of control. I heard that there is an automatic paralysis device inside." That day, the automatic paralysis device worked, and the out-of-control explosive gun chamber was burned out, but it still hit the intended target. In this comparison, the lightsaber seems to be a bit unpleasant. After a minute of silence, someone woke up. Then this time, the project Ziosu came to do is lightsabers, blasters. With a comparison, this time the project is very exciting. I heard that it is a project of ion energy shield, and this shield seems to be able to absorb energy. Shield, absorb energy. The more you hit me, the stronger I get. Everyone turned their heads collectively and looked at Xu Teng. Xu Teng, who had finished breakfast, stood up silently and said, "Junior brother, we should go." Good. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.